Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Murder Church allows all in attendance, even though maybe there shouldn't be children here. So if there are children here, just, we're going to be talking about murder. We're going to be talking about death. Specifically, Lana Clarkson's death. We're back with Phil Spector. Let's go. I think we're on episode 68. Keeping on plugging along with this thing. Today we're starting out with House of Blues attorney Richard Munisteri, I believe his name is, takes the stand. We got 14 minutes starting out with him. We're going to see where we go, see where we end up. Thanks everyone for coming in. Hit the old like, give it a share on the old X Machine. I just made a post out there. I'd appreciate her. And yeah, let's rock and roll.
Let's rock.
Yo, yeah, maybe not children. Maybe I should have left that part out. I don't know if children should be watching this, actually. This is a interesting trial nonetheless, but it also does depict some pretty graphic images, and the nature of it in general is pretty mature. We got Jerry in the house hanging out. What's up? Good morning, Jerry. Yeah, get me your information at publiclybuzz@gmail.com. I'll get you a shirt, my man. Oasis Cat in the house. I like this right here. I imagine you typing like the cat meme. Good morning. Good morning. Sinead, good morning. BGOG, good morning. Pammy, good morning. CH, good morning. Sinead, 8 months up in this motherfucker. Good morning. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
Oh, yeah. How about some bells? Start us out right. With the bell. Damn, Sinead's starting us out really right. $5.99. Hell yes. We got a brand new wheel that has already started. And then we've got one we're going to spin. We finished one on Friday and I forgot to give her a spin. So we're going to be doing that here this morning as well, which is always fun. Thank you. I already got 2 names on the new wheel, Pammy and Sinead. And yes, we got a full wheel that we're going to be getting to today. Hell yes. Hell yes. Love to see it. Love to see it. Love to hear it. Bell's rocking and rolling. Don't think I missed anybody. Tina's out there. Thank you, Tina. Drew coming through as well. Kathy's in the house. Oh, yeah. We do have a few more lurking back there. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Of course, anybody that wants to get on the wheel, you know the drills. I'll be checking all the apps. I'll be, yeah. And if of course, the number one thing, the best way to do it, if you are not there yet, is to join the book club, which is become a member here. You not only become a member, you get extra content that's going to be coming down the pike here soon, especially as it warms up, and you get in the book club. We're currently reading The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule, Ted Bundy book, where she worked at him with the Crisis Call Center. We're 4 chapters in currently, so we're still pretty early. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been cool. And again, you have to be membered up any level to be a part of the Buzz Nation Book Club. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get in here. Let's see how far we get into old Phil Spector's trial this time, this Sunday. Disney Nerd, good morning. Semi Sharp, still got some fine folks walking in the door. I'd love to see it. Love to see it. That's what I'm talking about. Anybody that was not here on Feral Friday, though, that was an awesome show. Had Dandy Savage back in. I've also broken this chair somehow. Like it's okay right now, but if I lean really back and put all my weight into it, this thing's gonna fall to the ground. I don't know what I've done, but it's definitely fucked, which sucks. I've had this thing for maybe 2 years. It wasn't even like a super cheap chair. I mean, it wasn't a crazy chair because they get pretty crazy. I don't know if anybody's ever looked at fucking desk chairs, but they get ridiculous, thousands of dollars. But this was like a $230 one, which is, not a shitty $100 one. And it's still, I guess I put a lot of wear and tear on it just doing these freaking shows, but to figure something out. It's okay right now, but there's something amiss for sure happening. Oh my God, yeah. If anybody didn't watch that, Miss Shorty Lisa posted that on her channel and on X. Us just talking for literally 6 minutes, trying to say razor blades with an Australian accent and often just ending up sounding British. And dude, it was really funny after I watched it back. I wish I had time to break out clips from those shows. I think those would help us out, but god dang, dude. Factual lie coming through here. We did get the bells this morning. We got the bells. I'll give you some extra bells, Simmy. I know Simmy likes a good bell party. Hold on. I'll give her some extra bells this morning. Why not? Extra bells in the house. Damn, coming through the Venmo already this morning. Passing the plate for Pastor Steve. Kathy coming through with a 420. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Kathy always coming through here, representing, being amazing. That's 3 names on that thing already. Already got a wheel in play, though. Don't forget. You're not going to want to leave. Got a lot of fine folks on there that could be winning some maggots and stickers. I've stopped naming the keychain because I'm not exactly how many we have or I've given away because we didn't have a lot. But also on Friday, if anybody didn't hear, we have some temporary tattoos coming. I don't think it's a lot either. I think it's like 10. But that'll be cool as well. Some temporary tats coming through this son of a bitch. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? Hell yeah. I love the fabulous people that come through here as well. We have the Buzz Nation is the place to be. We have fun in here. We don't take it too serious. I try not to take it too serious. And when I do end up taking it too serious, I end up feeling like shit and not liking it. So it's not fun to do. You gotta keep it light. You gotta have a good time while you're talking about murder, I think. It's morbid. It's fucked up, but it's my personality that I'm bringing to you guys, which is, again, a bit on the morbid side. So, all right, let me get the sound in here. Boom. I might have to go get some coffee just to wake my ass up. Nose is messing with me this morning. A little bit of allergy issue. The weather's going crazy. One day it's 70. One day it's fucking 40. All right, let's get in here. Let's go.
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
First name is Richard, Richard. Last name is Munisteri. That's
Munisteri.
spelled Munisteri. Thank you. You may proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Munisteri, and thank you very much for joining us here this morning.
Good morning.
Hopefully, you'll be a quick witness here. You and I chatted in the hallway just, 5-10 minutes ago?
That's correct.
And that's the first time we've ever met, correct?
That's correct.
Never spoken to you before then?
That's correct.
All right. Sir, what is your occupation?
I am Associate General Counsel.
I know I've been talking about this wave for a minute, but the wave is coming through this week. I just got my YouTube payout for this last little portion. So yeah, the next wave will have some Australian and Irish shipments.
At Live Nation. I'm an in-house attorney for the parent company of House of Blues.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
And in that capacity, were you requested to do something before coming to court today in regards to this matter?
That's correct. House of Blues received a subpoena, which I received yesterday for an appearance this morning.
Okay. And in that subpoena, were certain documents requested?
There were 3 documents attached to the subpoena that were referenced in the subpoena.
Okay. And are you familiar with how the books and records are kept for the House of Blues?
Generally, yes.
Okay, and they're kept in the regular course and scope of business?
That's correct.
Made at or near the time of the event?
Correct.
And do they reflect accurately the incidents or the events that they purport to report?
Yes.
Okay. Jen, with your assistance, can we have people 17 up?
Purple on light blue today. I think he might have. Isn't that what he was in last time? Might be on the same.
On the board, please. Sir, I'd ask you to turn your attention to the screen, which has people 17 reproduced. And if you look at the top, it says Foundation Schedule. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what is that?
That's a listing of the work schedule planned for staff at the venue.
Okay, and by looking at the very first top 2 lines that run horizontally where it says
Thanks for that share.
month to
Appreciate that.
when, and then there's dates underneath that. Can you tell us what that is?
That's giving the week ahead and for each day and a listing of the show that is scheduled for each day. So setting out for the week
Both those colors pop.
the schedule for the employees.
Okay, and pursuant to the
blue and
subpoena
the purple.
coming here, you were aware of the fact that we were interested in the year of 2003, correct?
Correct.
And these records are, in fact, for that year, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Going down the left side, and we'll try and do this fairly quickly, there's apparently a number of names, and there's a second page which we'll get to in a moment, but I just want to foundationalize it with the first page. There's a number of names, and there's also a number of what I would just call either assignments or designations. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And could you just briefly explain how that works with the House of Blues records?
Yes, I mean, we would have here listed our employees at the club, categorized according generally to their function. Those would be listed here on the left. Sometimes there is contact information that's associated with each employee, so that would be listed on the left side, and then going across each row, you would then have the schedule that was planned for the work hours of each employee.
And would that be for the entire work week?
Correct.
Okay, so let's just take one and only one as an example. Why don't we use the name Shane Berry, which appears under the section entitled Managers, because I'm just picking it because it's the first name up. Is that a male or a female?
That's a male.
Okay, and could you just explain how that works there? I see there's some phone numbers and things like that.
Correct. I mean, beneath Shane's name, you'll see the work phone number and cell phone number for the employee, and then to the right, as you go across, you'll see the schedule of planned work hours for Shane across the week.
Okay, and I note on page 1 of People 17, it appears that the two categories are managers and bartenders. Is that right?
On that page, correct.
Okay. Let's go to the second page. Jen, could I trouble you for that, please? Thank you. And could you please blow up the section which is entitled Security, if you would, please?
I'm gonna have to get some. I don't always drink coffee, but
Can we get that a little bit
some days
larger?
you're feeling it, right? I don't. Usually people who love coffee so much they're addicted to it. I'm really not.
Okay. Thank you.
can
And
go
eventually we'll need the
days without
remaining
it.
portion, which doesn't appear on the screen now. Okay, this is page 2 of People 17. Your Honor, it's marked 17A.
Yo,
is that
how about
right?
now?
Because
a
I
little
think Wendy
fixed
said
up,
she didn't want A's.
a little bit better.
Or B's. Or,
Check. Check. 1, 2.
That's what is
check.
marked is correct.
so stay with the 17A.
That's correct.
Okay. Looking at
little
People
bit louder.
17A.
A little bit louder now.
sir,
A little bit louder
do you
now.
see a section that's entitled Security with a number of names to your left?
I do.
Okay. Could you focus your attention on the second name from the bottom, please?
I see it.
Okay. And Jen's highlighting that for you, Lana Clarkson. Did you know Miss Clarkson?
I did not.
Okay. Directing our attention to that name, the first column is for Monday, January 27th, is that right?
That's correct.
And the second column for Tuesday, January 28th?
Correct.
And the third column for January 29th?
Tita's a proud
Or
coffee
Wednesday.
addict.
Okay. On Monday,
I get it, man. Like, I don't know. I just never, I don't know. I've went years by drinking it off and on all the time. And, again, I can just turn it off and on. But then again, you know, when I do drink coffee here, I drink pretty good coffee. So, like, it's not bad. It's actually really good. And then when I go to work, I'll usually get like a little bit and I just sip on it. Like, I barely even drink any. But it's almost just like that to have it there. But yeah, when I get it on Sunday mornings here, I usually actually drink it.
what were her hours, please?
She would have checked in at 6 p.m. as her start time.
Okay, and it shows a 6 p.m. figure in that column, but next to it is the word top. Is that correct?
Correct.
What does that mean? Would you explain
I
to us?
thought you were going to ask me that, but I'm afraid I don't know. So.
You didn't read the subpoena?
That's how I'm starting my morning right there.
We should have been more detailed, huh? Okay. At any rate, she started at 6 p.m.
I drink it black also,
That's correct.
Kathy.
All right, and she presumably worked through the evening until whatever top means, right?
Correct.
All right.
Black
And
coffee,
taking
baby.
a look at Wednesday, January 29th, which is the third column over, did she once again work from 6 p.m. to top?
Correct.
Jen, could you please go to the next 3 columns, and then we'll come back to this
Oh,
one?
man. Dude, a Dr. Pepper early in the morning, that bite. Dude, I don't drink soda anymore. I did stop drinking soda altogether, but yeah, I remember that. Even a Diet Dr. Pepper, dude. Even a Coke. Like the bite on that early in the morning, that will wake your ass up. I did. I got away from soda. Luckily, I drink a lot more water. Water and beer is basically what I'm drinking. Salty Sleuths investigates in the house. Good morning. She's looking for some coffee also, man.
4 columns, excuse me. Thank you. Okay, and again, if we look at the horizontal column,
Shit. I'm glad you said that. I've got a tax appointment today at 2, actually. At a local spot.
which stretches from left to right, second from the bottom, for Thursday, January 30th. Friday, January 31st, Saturday,
I do get like a
February 1st,
fancy
and Sunday,
Starbucks.
February
I get that
2nd,
blonde
whatever times.
coffee.
Each night,
Starbucks.
Ms. Clarkson was to
It is pretty
start or
tasty.
check
Oh my
in
God. It's
at
like, it doesn't
6
need
p.m.
any.
Okay, and she worked till...
Just black's
whatever
good.
that means, right?
Correct.
All right, Jan, can we go back, please, to that first
And
three
do
columns?
both. Coffee and a
And
Coke.
if you would blow those up for us, please. Thank you. All right.
G-level
Now, I
shit.
want you to take a look at the column, which is for Tuesday, January 28th. And if we go from second from the bottom, which Jen has now nicely highlighted for us in yellow, you notice that's blank. Is that correct?
It's tough, and it's even tougher to do every now and then, I think. Because, like, you remember that sweet... You know what I miss more than fucking anything? Like, soda's great. Like, when you really get it and you get a really nice ice cold soda with a certain type of food can be amazing. But the one that I really miss is Pepsi, Taco Bell Pepsi with the Taco Bell food. Like, I just get like a giant water now. But good Lord, dude, there's the combo of that shitty food with that ice cold beverage through the machine. Oh God.
What does that mean?
My understanding is that she would have been off. that
Out of
night.
body.
Okay, day off.
Correct.
So she didn't work that Tuesday, correct?
According to our records, correct.
Okay. Tuesday, January 28th of '03.
Correct.
Okay. And, Your Honor, I have another exhibit here, which is entitled A Time Card Detail Edit for Lana Clarkson
Yeah.
from January
Hopefully we'll have to
27th
owe a lot
of
in
03
the
to February
taxes. We'll
2nd of 03. And I'd ask that that be marked next in order, which I think is defendant's R to the 10th power.
That's correct.
Okay. May we have that marking, please?
Yes.
Chair's annoying me.
Jen, could you put that up there and blow it up as much as you can so that the witness as well as the jurors can see that? Thank you. All right, and turning your attention once again to the screen, you've heard me identify this as what's called a time card detail edit.
Like,
What is that?
I like Coke better than Pepsi, but specifically, it's the one from Taco Bell. Like, that's the only one that, like, I still kind of have a craving for if I eat Taco Bell, because I just remember that combo was so delicious. But yeah, I would prefer, when I did drink soda, I'd prefer to Coke over Pepsi as well.
Just tell the jury what that is.
This would be detail reflecting the precise time at which the employee punched in and punched out for work that day.
Yeah, I called it out. You might have been working, but yeah, thank you so much, Shane. You are, I think, you're number 2 on the new wheel, which I've got another wheel that I've got to spin. But yeah, I got you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll give you a little bit more love. Hold on. How about I give you a little bit of this guy?
At that time in 2003, did all of the employees at the House of Blues on Sunset have a similar card such as this one?
Correct. Those who are on an hourly basis, correct.
Okay. How much money was Ms. Clarkson making an hour at that time, if you know? Approximately. I don't mean to the penny.
I believe it was in the area of $9 an hour, according to our records.
Okay. And if we look at these records, do they pretty much
I think you should.
image the two exhibits which I just
Appreciate it.
previously showed you, People 17 and People 17A?
I'm not sure what you mean by mirror image.
In other words, what I'm saying is that when you looked at People 17 and 17A, and we ran it for the week that Ms. Clarkson worked other than the day off on Tuesday,
Right.
we were able to determine that she started at about 6 p.m. and worked to the top. Is that correct?
That was her schedule, correct.
Right. So what I'm asking here is, when you look at, this is her time card, right?
Correct.
No one else's.
Correct.
And what I'm asking is, if you look at this time card, let's just start on Monday, okay? And we'll work our way from left to right. On Monday, what time did she punch in?
She punched in at 6 o'clock p.m.,
And what time did she leave that day?
2 o'clock a.m.
Jesus, see, like it's, oh my
Tuesday is
God.
easy because it was her day off. So let's move to Wednesday. And on Wednesday, what time did she come in?
She punched in at 5:55 p.m.
And what time?
That's about fucking another
punched
chair,
out at
dude.
12:54 a.m.
Stupid.
About an hour earlier than what she
First
left on
part's put them
Monday, right?
together.
Correct.
Okay, and if we go to
Hate
Thursday,
putting these things
please again,
together.
when did she punch in?
Cassie to help
She
me.
punched in
She's
at
actually pretty good at that
5:54
stuff,
p.m.
man.
And what time did she leave?
Punched out at
get real
1:57
frustrated.
a.m.
And on Friday?
Oh, I feel like I can't
She
fully
punched
sit
in
back
at
here.
5:58 p.m.
Annoying.
and punched out at 2:24 a.m.
Okay, and Saturday?
She punched in for her first shift at 10 a.m. punched out at 12:30 p.m., and then for second shift, punched in at 5:58 p.m. and punched out at 2:22 a.m.
So Saturday, February 1st was the only day in that week where she had actually 2 shifts,
Correct, according to our records.
according to the time clock.
Right.
You have no reason to believe this isn't accurate, do you?
That's correct. I have no reason.
Okay. And finally, let's just turn to Sunday, February 2nd, and this is the last one. What time did she check in?
She punched in at 6:02 p.m.
And what time did she quit that evening?
She punched out at 2:21 a.m.
Can you tell me, there's a column that appears to the right of each of the punch out times,
This is
and it has
stupid.
letters in it, ED and LD. Do you know what those are?
I do not.
Okay, there's one that also has an LA. Do you know what that one is?
I do not.
Okay. And this document, which has been marked defendants R to the 10th power, and the 2 prior documents,
super
people
annoying.
17 and 17A, those are in fact.
Oh,
the
you're
business
right.
records
It's
of
the
the
chair
House of Blues
dancing.
for that particular week in the year 2003. Is that correct?
Yes.
Court's indulgence, please, for a quick moment.
Yes.
Dude, yeah, that's exactly why my chair is completely fucked
Thank you
right
very
now.
much, sir. Pass the witness.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
It's making sense all of a sudden. Chair dancing. I do bounce the fuck out of this chair on Fridays.
Mr. Rose, can we have that
Fuck.
exhibit back up? First 17A. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Right, I have 17 as a 3-page schedule, so somebody may have marked today. It doesn't really make a lot of difference. It's still Exhibit 17. All right, you may proceed.
All right, or maybe,
Oh my god. Yeah, like
just a couple
I'm
questions.
sort of lounging, but I'm also
Do you know
not
Mr.
because I
Berghammer?
can't fully just
I do
let
not.
go.
Okay, you ever heard of him as being the, I
Oh
guess,
my
the manager
God.
of the House of Blues back in 2003?
I've heard that name, but I can't
Okay.
tell you what role I associate it with.
All right, there was some discussion about what, whether you knew what top meant or not. Have you been to the House of Blues?
I have.
All right. Would it surprise you if Mr. Berghammer told us when he was here that top meant that Lana Clarkson was assigned to the top door at the security of the foundation room?
That would not surprise me.
Okay. Do you know that there's such a position there?
Yes.
Well, it's important, in fact, isn't it, to make sure who gets in and who doesn't get into the foundation room?
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
All right.
All right. And so top might very well refer to that position. Is that correct?
And it's also a call for speculation, the way you're phrasing
All
it.
right. Thank you.
Sustained.
Looking at this
For real.
exhibit, we were, could we go back to the next page?
I wish.
City? Oh.
Hey, I'm gonna look
the one
around
with
on
the
it.
managers on it. Oh, there it is. Maybe we could highlight the managers. You talked about.
Something's going on. If it would be
number of
just a little
managers.
tightening
Let's see, we have 3 of
on
them
a
there,
screw.
correct?
On this list, correct.
By Shane
But it
Gray,
feels
Tim
like if I
Gregory,
lean back, it's gonna
and
fall to the
C.Y.
ground. Like,
Watts or Waits?
Side weights.
and this left
Okay.
arm
Did you
goes
know
all.
that these
If I
people
push on it, it
took
goes like
on-
all the way down. The other one's kind of
But
stable.
this document would correctly indicate whether or not they were working there, right?
Stupid. Everything's
Correct.
stupid.
I mean, would indicate their schedule.
All right, and these
Even
are
then, I abused
managers
it.
at the House of Blues in the foundation room, correct?
Right.
In fact, they would be, any one of these 3 people on any given night would be Lana Clarkson supervisors there at the foundation room, correct?
Correct.
Including Mr. Barry and Mr. Gregory.
Correct.
Thank you, nothing further.
Thank you. Redirect.
Just one question. Sir, you didn't make any assignments that evening as to who was working what position, did you?
I did not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Recross.
No, thank you.
Subject to recall. Thank you for being here. You're excused at this time. Do you have another witness?
We need to approach.
All right, you may.
See where we're going next. If I have time to go get some coffee. Yes, 40 minutes. We're going to be with the judge and counsel, discuss trial proceedings outside the presence of the jury. So we're going to be doing that for a minute. Hell yeah. Again, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. We're going to be doing a will this morning that's already been completed. We've already had some fine folks come through and getting on the new will, which I really freaking appreciate. And anyone passing through, give this thing the old share ski. I appreciate it. And the like ski as well.
The parties are present, the jurors and the alternates are not. Yes. Mr. Brenham?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Yes.
My colleagues have elected me to inform the court we don't have any additional witnesses this afternoon. The thought was that I was closest to the door and might have the best chance of escaping. We do have, we will have witnesses in the morning. There's some computer data that has been supplied to us even as late as this morning that's being analyzed. We'll be ready to present that in the morning. But there is something we can do this afternoon, and that is that we can offer the prior testimony of Dr. Lee. He's currently unavailable to us. He's out of the country. I think the court's aware of that. He's beyond any jurisdiction that we can evoke to get him back here in a timely manner today, tomorrow, Thursday. And so in looking at the prior testimony that was presented in this hearing, at the special hearing, all of the issues, or a significant proportion of the relevant issues were presented at that time, both through the direct and the cross-examination. And in reviewing the cross-examination, it seems as though the prosecution not only had the opportunity, but took advantage of the opportunity to examine him on every relevant issue. So it seems to me that the admission criteria of prior testimony have been met, and so we would proffer that testimony. We could, if the court rules that it is admissible, we could take the time to present that this afternoon.
Should I go get a coffee?
Thank you. Prosecution.
I will be watching
Objection here, saying we don't
this.
think that he's unavailable. We don't think the defense can show
On
due
the
diligence
phone.
to show that they've made every effort to get him here. The defense case started on, as I understand it, I'll be going back and tried to check this, June 26th or so. We've been in the defense case for over 4 weeks. I think the defense has the obligation to show the court what efforts they've made to contact him, either through email, telegram, phone calls have been documented. We think that they just can't show due diligence to show he's unavailable. It seems to me that this is a witness who apparently has professional, perhaps even a contractual relationship with the defense. He's been here in Los Angeles a number of different times.
All right, I'm gonna go get it. I'll be right back.
Him, at least 2 times for various science seminars that were conducted, at least one of those at the county crime lab for the sheriff's department. He was here within hours after the murder at the defendant's house. When he last testified, we were told that he was in Italy, and they arranged to have him come here. This case has been going on for them for 4 weeks. If they really wanted to have him come here and testify live before this jury and offer us the opportunity for cross-examination, full cross-examination, not what occurred at the hearing, which was a very limited issue, then they could have made those arrangements. We don't believe they have. But we really think that this is a last-minute call on their part. And with that in mind, I would just suggest one case, perhaps the court's familiar with it. I'm not going to tell the court that it's perfectly on all fours, but I think it's pretty close. People v. Masters, 1982, it's 134 Caleb 3rd, 509. And basically that talks about a situation where a prosecution witness had a prior relationship and made promises to come and testify and then turned reluctant. And the court talks about whether or not that was sufficient to show due diligence to lay the foundation for unavailability, which is a requirement for prior testimony. So that's our take on this.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bruno?
Well, much of that is irrelevant. The fact that he was here in 2003 and May of 2006, really irrelevant to the point of his availability at this point. The correct issue, or the more narrow issue, is what efforts have we been able to make to get him to attend at this time. And I would represent to the court, Ms. Bodden or Mr. Plord could inform the court that both through contacts with his office and a limited contact with him, he is out of the country. So it's not as if he's unavailable in a communication sense. We know where he is, but it's beyond the jurisdiction. This court can't issue a subpoena to China. Federal court can't issue a subpoena to China, even if we could evoke federal jurisdiction. So he is beyond the subpoena power. He's not beyond our subpoena power forever. He'll be back next week, we're hoping, but that's not the answer for this week. And so the fact that he's been here before is irrelevant. It's whether or not he's available now. And if the court would like, I can make a more detailed offer of proof.
I think you'd better.
I would just wonder, where's the subpoena?
Well, I'll get to that, Mr. Dixon. Let's hear what the offer of proof is.
The offer of proof would be that Dr. Lee had a pre-existing, pre-scheduled trip to China, that he left on that trip, and he's still on that trip. We thought that the defense case would last longer than to this point. And so...
Are you ready to rest?
I think we'll be ready tomorrow if absent further developments, but Ms. Bodden can tell you that. But we're certainly at the point of resting this week. And Paul?
Your Honor, if I could just
Yes.
the schedule. We notified the people over the noon hour. We made some decisions to cut certain witnesses off and basically put our case on somewhat of a diet as far as different witnesses are concerned. But we have 3 or 4 short witnesses tomorrow morning, and we've advised them we should be done by noon.
You expect, with the exception of Dr. Lee, to rest your case tomorrow?
Well, subject to the admission of exhibits and the scene view, which we consider that to be part of our case. But
Well, that's correct. We haven't had that yet.
yeah, so
Okay.
I mean, subject to those 2, we're going to finish our witnesses tomorrow.
And also, just if you recall, we have, excuse me for not getting out my packet.
No problem.
The computer people, we're putting them on partially tomorrow, but we have about 5,000 exhibits, some of which are still coming to go through. I'm not sure I could finish it all one night to go through them all, but I'll do the best I can and get as much as I can on tomorrow.
Okay.
So could that be conditional?
But we notified the people because we still haven't gotten the rebuttal list, and we don't know what their plans are for rebuttal, if any, so.
Well, that is because we were informed just yesterday that the defense case would go through a good part of next week. So this is new news to us, too.
Time-wise, without talking about witnesses, about how many days would you guess or make a best guess for rebuttal to take?
We're hoping to keep this to 2 to 3. We do not want to go over that at all. We want to make it short, fast, and to the point.
Okay? Now, with that in mind, Mr. Bruno, go ahead. You said did you have some other offer of proof you wanted to make?
Not on the unavailability issue, Your Honor. I don't know if I finished that, but basically we've simply been in contact, and he has informed us that he can't come back until next week.
Okay.
He won't come back until next week, and the existence or non-existence of a subpoena is irrelevant because if we took the Concorde, if it was still flying, or somehow got to China immediately, gave him a subpoena, he could use that to, wrap his takeaway. It just has no power over there. So I think he is legally unavailable. But at any event, that would be our offer of proof.
And when did you subpoena originally Dr. Lee to appear at trial?
I don't have the date of the first subpoena, perhaps.
No, for trial, not for the hearing or whatever.
We never issued him a subpoena.
So he's not under subpoena?
Correct.
Okay. And don't you think that's sort of a prerequisite, is to put your witnesses under subpoena to make sure that they appear?
Well, most witnesses, yes.
Right.
And,
So he's told you he'd be here. I assume that what you're telling me is that he would be here if you just called him.
That's basically what the position was, yes.
Okay, and-
Absent conflict, like the Italy trip, I mean, obviously he's a busy man, and we have to fit our schedule into his.
Oh, I just find it interesting, and I guess what your view is, because I certainly know that his planned trip, that he was going to leave the country, he apparently announced it to the press. He was interviewed, I read it, not that I believe everything that I read, but that he was planning on leaving the country, and that he didn't think he would be a necessary witness because you had other witnesses that would take care of it. And I'm assuming that you're able to read the same papers that I did, that you could have then placed him under subpoena.
Well, that's a compound observation, but I'll work backwards.
Most of my observations are, but so go ahead.
Profound as well. But the point is that we couldn't interrupt his schedule. That was made clear to us. And we also thought that it wouldn't be necessary to do that. Cases, trials don't always keep a pace that is accurately predictable. And in this particular instance, as we come down toward the end of our case, we delete witnesses, we shorten witnesses, we try to narrow the evidence that's presented. So that's the status. I mean, and in addition, having had the opportunity to have Dr. Lee here and have him testify and having be cross-examined very thoroughly by Mr. Jackson, we felt that would satisfy that particular burden.
Okay. Well, thank you. Is there anything further that you wanted to add?
Not on that point. I have a different point, but...
you just want to talk relating to Dr. Lee or not?
It is related to Dr. Lee, but it's a different point. Assuming that he is available next week, we can call him in sur rebuttal or reopen our case. We need to get the outlines of the instruction that the court is going to give concerning the piece of evidence or the piece of something and whether or not it is evidence that was at issue here. It's very difficult for us to make a tactical decision as to what to have him testify about, how much emphasis to give to that particular point, and to make, try to make the legal judgments that are inherent in that issue without having a better idea of how the court intends to instruct the jury. And we're not asking for the final version, but we would like to know the elements of the instruction with some certainty so that we can make a decision that's intelligent and legally sound.
Okay, thank you. People wish to add anything?
Your Honor, the only thing that I would add, number one, I would ask the court to take mental note, if not physical note, of People versus Saint Germain, last name spelled ST, period, new word, GERMAIN. That's found at 138 Calap 3rd 507. The court stated in Saint Germain, that's a 1982 case, by the way, that under 28 U.S.C. section 1783, quote, a court of the United States may order the issuance of a subpoena requiring the appearance of a witness before it or before a person or body designated by it of a national or resident of the United States who is in a foreign country, if the court finds that particular testimony or the production of the document covered by it is necessary to the interests of justice. So Mr. Brunon is actually incorrect, all due respect. If, in fact, a subpoena, that there is a condition precedent to this USC section applying, and that is the witness had to have been subpoenaed here in this jurisdiction. If the subpoena is effective here in this jurisdiction under Saint Germain, then the witness leaves under a foreign, going to a foreign country under 28 U.S.C. 1783. They could issue it, or actually the court could issue a foreign subpoena. That wasn't done. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure that we're all on all fours. That Dr. Lee is in China is of no consequence legally. I mean, the defense can't just simply say, well, he's in foreign soil, therefore we couldn't reach out and touch him. Even if we wanted to, he could wrap the subpoena around his fish for lunch. That's not quite true. There are some conditions precedent to maintaining jurisdiction over a witness, even if that witness leaves to a foreign jurisdiction. Enough about the law. I'd rather talk about the actual opportunity that we had to cross-examine Dr. Lee. I think one of the things that the defense wants to get out in front of the jury is Dr. Lee's statements about finding blood on a wall. That was not part of the hearing. That was elicited by Mr. Plord in direct examination. I did not cross-examine him on that at all. Why? Because Dr. Lee was here to talk about one issue, and that was a very singular issue, and that was a missing piece of evidence, or at that time a potential missing piece of evidence, which he denied taking and denied secreting and denied concealing. That's what I focused my cross-examination on almost entirely. I did not explore, and had I known we'd be in a different position later, I would have explored Dr. Lee's testimony about finding some blood on a wall somewhere. That was an aside. I never had the I never took the opportunity to cross-examine him on that issue because I did not believe that I had the right to do that. The court was very specific with the reason for the hearing, the missing piece of evidence, not blood, not backspatter, not 72 inches, not anything else. So we did not have a full and fair opportunity to cross-examine him on that issue. So under 1290, or under 1291 actually, I think that is not qualifying for former testimony.
Anything further?
Briefly, to address the opportunity issue, my recollection in a review of the transcript is that the opportunity to examine about the blood spatter was taken and exploited. If you recall, we learned all about parallax and other type of camera terminology that was beyond certainly my kin. So I think that Mr. Jackson is not fully recollecting the degree of examination that he did enter into concerning that blood spot. But also
Morning, everybody coming in.
Well,
Appreciate
on
it.
several grounds, I don't think you've shown me that Dr. Lee is
Getting a little
unavailable.
spicy.
First of all, I don't
Gwen, welcome in. Dave, welcome in. Everybody, get in here. Joe, welcome in.
think you've shown
Hit that like if you
diligence. In
haven't.
fact, just the opposite. I believe there
Get
may
a
be
seat.
some cases
Get
that have talked
comfortable.
about a witness
I just got a
who
coffee.
could have or should have been subpoenaed not being subpoenaed
Judge Dahart
because
is going to lay down the
of
law.
relationship with the parties where they believed it was not necessary to do so. But in this case, if you listen to everything you said, that might do believing he would be here at any
Morning,
reasonable time,
therapist,
but
you
you
know,
knew he was
get in
leaving the
here.
country. That's what you just told me. We knew he was going. We can't interfere with the schedule. Yes, you can. Anytime you want, you could have issued the subpoena before he left. His trip does not take precedence over this trial. It may have been inconvenient. A subpoena commands the
Hell yeah.
individual to be present at a certain time,
Genie.
and their wish that they be allowed to leave for business or personal reasons is something they can present to the court that issues the subpoena, but they don't get to make that decision ex parte. And the bottom line is that's what was done. You made a knowing decision
in here.
that he
Love it.
might not be here during the presentation of the case. You can't possibly claim due diligence. He is not an unavailable witness on that ground alone. Besides which, your case is not going to be over. You may have run out of witnesses as far as presenting witnesses in front of the court. You've asked for a view of the scene, which the court has granted. We have scheduled that. It is very difficult logistically to do that. It's an enormous amount of people that are involved to go out on that scene. It involves several police agencies. It involves, in this case, the news media and making arrangements for them. It involves transporting the jury and the court and staff and others to the scene and
This is
making
for Dr.
arrangements
Lee,
to get
wasn't
that
it?
done. The view is presently scheduled for August 9th. At that point, you might be in a position to rest your case, and even then, that doesn't change my ruling because you haven't exercised any due diligence as to Dr. Lee. If you want to present him, and assuming that he will be back next week, which is the week of the 9th, the 9th is a Thursday, Friday we don't work on the 10th, certainly the court will be back in session on the 13th. If you truly wish to call him, you'll have that opportunity to do so, and then to have him fully cross-examined by the people. So that takes care of that issue. On the second issue, you want my jury instruction to sort of guess what you might do tactically before you question him. One, instructions are done at the close of the case. I have not heard all the evidence in this case. I don't know what the final situation is with Dr. Lee. Even if I did, I'm not prepared to sit down and go over instructions, even if it's not in its final form. I'll be prepared to do that when all the evidence is in and what exhibits have been received, and I sit down with the parties and get their input as to what instructions the court will give as is required in each and every case. So the request, I understand why it might be useful to you, to go ahead and predetermine what instruction I'm going
Bonnie.
to give, either in whole or in part or partial form. I'm not going to do that. I'm not prepared to do that. I wouldn't do it with any other instruction. I'm not prepared to do that. It's outside the normal pattern instructions, if you will. Those we sort of know, unless there's something that needs to be modified. You can guess what certain required instructions are going to be, and you can certainly know or have a pretty good knowledge of what the language will be. That's not, in this case, we're sort of into uncharted territory, so I'm not prepared to do that. So what I'm going to tell the jurors this afternoon, I'm going to bring them out and basically tell them that although we've run out of witnesses this afternoon, we're getting close to the finish. I don't know if they actually know we're going on a jury view at this point. They perhaps they've sort of, well, I'm going to tell them, and I'm going to tell them at that point, around the 9th, the defense will probably be resting. I don't know whether the people are going to put rebuttal on, since we're going to have some downtime otherwise. Folks, are you going to be prepared to go forward when they're done with their witnesses as to any rebuttal?
We begun spooling up immediately, yes,
Okay.
Judge, we expect to. I do have just my thoughts about this.
Okay.
One of the issues concerning the jury view was to make sure that the property, the fountain, the foyer, the areas that were going to be viewed, are in a position, or in a condition rather, that are consistent with how they were in 2003. Until we go out and see those.
Well, we're going out on the 6th. We're going out informally. It's not going to be a court session to preview what the jury will see. And because we're off the morning of the 6th, because the juror has an appointment, that's when we've decided to go out and do it. And I'll be in a better position, and we'll all be in a better position to make certain rulings or
wheel I can work on
decisions as
here.
to the property before we go. Of course, if those aren't
And
met,
give away some
we might not have a view on that.
magnets
Which is
and
what brings me to
stickers.
that
Well, I'll
same
tell
point,
the
which-
jury that there's a strong possibility. I won't say we definitely
Okay.
will,
Okay.
so that they're not disappointed. This could be their highlight, I don't know. I can't read their minds,
Fair enough.
okay?
See if I can get this marker to
All right.
work.
And which reminds me, we need to, as we get towards doing this view, it's Mr. Spector's property. Obviously, the defense is requesting this. There's no problem with the jurors and ourselves, but the media want access, and that raises certain issues that I have to know what Mr. Spector's position is to that. Mr. Rosen met on behalf of the defense with the sheriffs and the court information officer and a representative of the district attorney's
We're taking
office
some kind of field trip
last
soon.
week to go over this, so I want to make sure that that is
I guess
in
to the
place before we
Spector's
go.
house.
I met with Deputy Paul Colbens, C-O-L-B-E-N-Z, and Lieutenant Steve...
Wheatcroft.
I'm sorry?
Wheatcroft.
Thank you. And I believe Mr. Dixon, myself, and Sandy Gibbons, we had a long meeting. I think we left here Thursday like close to 4:30. There was a shopping list of issues that the sheriffs had. They gave it
Yeah,
to me.
Shelley's
Take
got
it
some
back
stuff
to
going
Steve and
on.
Mr.
I
Spector.
think she's on a trip.
I have had a meeting with him telephonically.
Said
over
she's
the
gonna be
weekend,
missing a few days.
And we've gone through it, and I think we're pretty close on almost all the issues. There was one...
Mr. Spector wants to talk to you.
We're pretty close on some. A few of the others were somewhat far apart.
Okay.
And Deputy Koblenz called
Some new
earlier
names on this one.
morning, and Chandra had provided me with a little note. I've spoken to him. I did call him this morning per request, and we are going to have a meeting later this afternoon, and either Mr. Dixon or Mr. Jackson or both, and I will be in attendance with them. So we're working on those things, and as you say, it is a very complicated process, and there's a lot of balls that have to be put in the air.
Okay.
But we're working on it.
Okay. Anything else? All right, let's bring the, actually,
There was just one thing, I'm sorry. There was one thing that I wanted to indicate to the court. I know it's been said before, but it is important to repeat it one more time. Just the fact that we still do not have all the materials. So our computer folks, they will be here tomorrow. They will be giving some testimony, but it
Shut
probably
your
will not be
fucking
exclusive
mouth,
to the court
Rob,
because
you
we still
son
don't
of
have
a
the rest of the
bitch.
materials analyzed.
I understand.
Okay.
A couple issues we can probably deal with before I let the jury go. One, Mr. Cutler, you'd indicated to me that you're planning on going, well, you're not out of town,
God,
in the
this
sense that
chair
you're
is
out of
really
LA County,
fucking
but you won't
annoying
be
me.
present at the trial.
Yes, sir.
When are you planning on
I'm going to have to get
leaving?
one immediately.
Do you have a date or dates? Do you know?
Tonight.
Tonight? Okay.
Yes. I'm just going to Westlake.
I know. It's almost the same country, but...
Yes. I haven't left the state of California
No.
since April 3rd, so...
He thought he needed his passport.
Well, we consider Ventura a very friendly county, so that's okay.
But, and of course, I'll be in touch with everyone.
Okay. And Mr. Spector, that's agreeable to you?
Yes.
Okay, now we have, that raises the next issue. And this is, some of it's solely in the control of the defense, but it's based on pre-existing law. Mr. Cutler, I understand that it is your present intention, when the case is finished, to argue at least part of the case in final argument. Is that correct?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Which means I need to have Mr. Spector understand, which is your absolute right to do so. I have no quarrel with that. But inasmuch as you have not been present during the entire trial, and I understand that you are reading transcripts, and of course the trial is available on television, but under one of the Manson cases, a similar situation, although it was the reverse, took place, wherein a defense counsel was unfortunately killed during the trial. The court appointed I believe it was Maxwell Keith, to represent that particular defendant. I don't remember which defendant it was. He was allowed to familiarize himself with transcripts and whatnot of the trial itself, and then argued the case to the jury. And on appeal, the Court of Appeal reversed that case, saying because he had not been present to actually view the witnesses, to judge their credibility, that was not constitutionally sound. Now, this being the defense doing it
On the will?
from the other side, certainly Mr. Spector has the right to waive that, but it's an
Will
issue that's going to be
definitely,
in front of the jury. They
like the
know that he
bottom of it
interfered.
needs
I
like
mean, I'm
loose.
certainly you can
11 days on this, George.
Fine, I understand that, but even one day, if you address witnesses...
Is that
or
Cutler
talk about
talking,
the
dear
case when you weren't
motherfucking
present,
God?
if you choose
This
to
man
do
hasn't
that,
talked
and
for
that's what
so
Mr. Spector
long.
wants you to do, you understand, Mr. Spector, you probably have a right to prevent that if that's what you wanted to do. If you said, no, I don't want you to do that. So if you choose to allow Mr. Cutler to argue the case, and that's the way it ends up going, you're waiving and giving up any argument that if there should be a conviction, I'm only saying this for the purpose of what I'm discussing with you, to come back at a later time and say my attorney should not have argued the case because he wasn't present and the jury knew that. In other words, you're saying this is okay with me and I agree that can be done. Is that agreeable
Oh, yeah.
with you?
Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can
Sorry?
figure out.
You'll discuss it with him, you'll let me know before the
I
close.
feel like I'm gonna have to
Okay, that's fine.
get a new one,
Okay, so long as the
honestly.
issue was raised. Thank you.
But I'm gonna see if there's
Let's bring
something I
up
can
yours.
tighten up to fix it, though, for sure.
All right, the record will reflect that the jurors and alternates are present. I have news for you. I won't characterize it as good, bad, or indifferent. I just want to bring you up to date on what's happening. As for today, we have run out of witnesses and could not get any witnesses into court, so we will be terminating the session for today. However, the case is getting very close to finishing. I don't want to give you a specific
So he
date
says.
because there's some things that are still in flux. But it doesn't look like too many more days of actual testimony, so it may go over a period of time as witnesses become available or unavailable. We may or may not be going out to a view of the Grandview address. We're waiting to see. If we do, we'll be going out the morning of the 9th. We still have some final details to iron out and see if we're actually going to do it. It is looking like
I'm afraid to drink this. I know it's gonna be hot as
We
fuck.
might. But soon after that, we should be getting close to the finish of the case. So I just want to note that you need to make plans. Please remember that when we get to the point after argument where you are actually deliberating the case, that we will be working on Fridays. Because I can do my calendar and you're in there, there's no inconsistency with that, so you will have to change your schedule. So again, it's not going to happen this Friday or next Friday, but after that, we're getting towards that point, and you should start making different plans. Also, if we're in argument and we wouldn't have to break up argument, you might have to be in for a Friday. I don't know how long that's going to take. The counsel told me it's going to take at least a couple days to argue the case. So with all that in mind, I just want you to start to plan your schedules along those lines. I know Juror 18, you may have a problem that you cannot resolve with the 9th, and we'll have to wait and see what's going on. We'll just sort of see what's happening so that perhaps you could remain with us, perhaps not. We'll just have to check and see how we're doing. So with that in mind, keep in mind the admonition. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30. Thank you very much. The alternates have left. Mr. Plord, you said you had some questions or issues?
Previously, the court has ruled that pictures of Lana Clarkson holding a gun, displaying a weapon, etc., from various roles that she's played in movies, TV, etc., were not admissible, and I indicated that I would print those out, mark them as an exhibit, present them to the court just to make a record of what those photographs were.
Sure.
I've done that. I've got 11 photographs marked. I'd like to have them marked collectively so that the record is clear as to what photographs we were intending to offer.
Okay.
So,
Just collectively, your next S10.
S10, and I'll give those to the court and
Okay.
make my record. And so be it.
Thank you. Anything further?
The court to look at them again and
Okay.
possibly change its ruling.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not going to re-argue with that.
Thank you.
I have a couple things, Your Honor, please.
Yes, Mr. Rosen.
Damn, Kathy coming through again. Oh, for the chair fund. Safety first. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. 420. Going into the Get Steve a Chair fund. I'm going to flip it over and see if there's hopefully something I can just tighten up and it not be a big issue. But I will definitely probably get another chair because this is annoying as hell. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Already got 4 names on the new will. You know what we doing. Hell yeah.
first thing is that we were informed, I believe, yesterday, maybe the day before, of an ex-party. I think it was Friday, actually, Mr. Jackson called and left a message. I think that's correct. If not, he'll correct me. Regarding an ex-party that had occurred, and there were more materials that were turned over. We would make a request based on what we've received thus far. We have received a fairly extensive, I don't know if you call it a report, I'm not sure what you call it, but it's a multi-page document, and it's been heavily redacted. And it is our request that we be provided with a unredacted version so that we can read the entirety of it and then make a decision on it. And secondly, as it is now, it is the defense intent that we may want to delve into those areas if and should the rebuttal list include Dr. Pena and or Dr. Lakshman. That's the first thing.
I would pay to see Dan McGoffin in the Dandy Savage
I
glasses.
discussed this with Mr. Jackson and Mr. Dixon, and maybe we'll take it up after.
The way he explained it, he'd just be like, he's got to look through like slits.
Court, as well as the government, has a fair idea.
Got it, Joanne. Thank you. Hell yeah.
We really need to get that rebuttal list because we have to take a look at these names. If there's going to be some new names, if it's the same names, that's one thing. But my sense is that we may see some new names on that list. And if so, we have to do our investigation and our due diligence on them, just like the government does. And since we're sort of getting to the point where we're hitting the wall on the defense case, I don't want to be in a position where we've got a new name and it's handed over us today and we're expected to cross-examine that person the next morning without having our investigator, Ms. Tyndall, have the opportunity to do a due diligence on the witnesses, just like we tried to do our best for the government. So those are my 2 points.
Thank you. The only thing I need to hear from the people on would be the second issue with the rebuttal.
Well, Your Honors, and we did touch on this before the lunch hour, we had been told by Mr. Floor that the defense was going to go well into next week. That's changed. We are going to go back upstairs and work on getting some witnesses together to have them hopefully here for you tomorrow after the noon hour. And as soon as we identify those, we will call Mr. Plord or Mr. Rosen and let them know. And as we get a larger list together, we will give those to them immediately. But we did not expect to be in this point actually as of last night until we heard about this before the noon hour, but we'll certainly try to get that information to them as quickly as possible. We are looking, have been trying to contact new witnesses, just as we remember many times happening during the defense
Gotcha,
case.
Joanne. Sorry about that.
We've got little or no notice. We'll try to avoid that, but we'll give those names to them as soon as we possibly know.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
And I appreciate it.
Therapist, are you giving that out to whoever? It says for Diller's Choice, a $5 holler. Oh, shit. Who's going to get that son of a bitch? Let me look through the chat here. If that's what you're meaning, that's how I'm taking it. First of all, let me get to the area. Boom. Who's going to get this spot by the therapist being a kind soul? Let's see. I'm going to look through here real quick. Let's put old Salty Sleuths on there, huh? Boom. How about that? Maybe get some of my merch repped over on another channel. That's really my goal. I just want everyone to be wearing Publicly Buzzed merch on all channels. Thank you so much, Therapist. Appreciate that. Fuck yeah. Give me a little love here real quick. Hold on with it. Give me the loot. You know what we doing?
You gotta fight for your right
to party.
And I understand, look, we've all been at this a long time, and we all know that instances like this occur where you get somebody at the last moment. But if
gotcha.
we could,
Hell yeah. Appreciate that. That's really cool, man. Best people here in the Buzz Nation. You already know.
And Mr. Plord have really had an open line of communication throughout the course of the trial, both for the defense and the government, in terms of on the discovery issues. And I think we should keep it between the
Coffee's
two.
Not going to burn my
If
face
there
off.
is an issue, it's been confined in the past
There's
between
a win.
the two, and I think we should continue to do that. So if the list is just provided to Mr. Plord, we can go from there. And I would just merely say, if we're going to see some new names tomorrow, we'll deal with that problem if it is a problem at that time. I mean, obviously, if it's somebody like, for example, a custodial witness, most of us can get ready on those pretty quick because we've been doing this a long time. But if it's somebody new and different who is
Honest folks, I'm telling you right now.
Other than that type of, I don't want to use the word can.
God,
because
8 more minutes
it's
of
somewhat
Rosen
pejorative.
just sitting here.
Testimony that we're accustomed to dealing with.
Bullshitting.
Most of us can stand up and cross-examine on it without much preparation. Versus,
I was hanging in there when I was making my coffee. I knew that they were talking about Dr. Lee and the defense's inability to issue a summons for him to be there, and then the state, of course, is pissed. But I think I've kind of veered off here.
It does require a lot of preparation. For example, and I'm just thinking ahead, maybe there might be a witness that the government might want to bring on to counter.
That's very true. What did I say?
Ms. Laughlin said.
Aware.
Ms. Day said.
Aware.
Mr. Barone said. So in that respect, obviously, if those are witnesses that they expect us to see tomorrow, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But it may not be that we can just stand up and cross-examine.
Okay.
One point I wanted to...
Yes, Mr. Clerk.
I asked for a rebuttal list some time ago. I don't think there's any secret. We gave our list of witnesses many, many months ago. They knew who we were calling, and I'm particularly concerned if all of a sudden we get a doctor on the list that we're not expecting. That takes time and so forth. But I've actually made a written request for rebuttal. I don't think they're making a decision.
God dang, I keep trying to like sit back, and I can feel it's not going to be the way I want to.
So I've been asking for this for a couple of weeks now.
Okay. Anything further?
No.
Okay. The only things that I need to do, I've looked at your pictures. They're still irrelevant. The bottom line is all they show is Ms. Clarkson holding a gun from a movie scene. Holding a gun does not equate with familiarity. I've indicated if you want to bring people in, you know, who trained her or have other knowledge.
Shit, another dealer's choice. Joanne this time.
These are not relevant.
Fuck.
But they don't show anything that has a logical tendency to prove anything other than she was holding a gun at some point, period.
Dealer's choice in here.
Yes.
That point in and of itself we think is relevant. We're not trying to prove that she was a markswoman. We're not trying to prove that she could break down a gun. We're not trying to prove that she knew the mechanical characteristics of all guns.
I'm going to give it, I'm going to pass it back to the therapist, you know. I'm going to get her on here.
In her life.
Thank you so much, Joanne.
Anecdotal evidence we have.
Keep moving it, passing it forward.
Evidence of her holding a gun, in most instances a revolver, that's certainly very similar to.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Respect.
You know what I'm saying?
House.
You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Hold up. Hold up.
The revolver in this case, just the simple fact that she.
It is a lot of pressure.
Has some relevance.
It doesn't have enough to me to make it relevant. The bottom line is familiarity with weapons, understanding weapons. A person can be an actor or actress, a director can place a weapon in their hand and say, hold it and look like this, and that doesn't give you any familiarity at all with weapons. There's no way of knowing what went into these particular scenes that you have captured a moment from. I'm not allowing the photographs in. The other issue, it sounds like the rebuttal lists are being worked out. I'll worry about those when we get to them. And there was one other issue that we were dealing with, which would then. Yes, thank you very much. To make a record of that, I guess it was on Friday, the district attorneys came to me, said they had an issue they wanted to put on the record, but do it ex parte. The reporter was called in. And this is somewhat complex only because you have to have an understanding of the Brady obligation and not just what it means generally, what it means in this county, and there's a reason for it. Ever since the Rampart incident, which gave rise to a lot of litigation concerning the district attorney's obligation under the Brady case, which is a federal case, which sets forth that the prosecution has an obligation without request to bring any exculpatory evidence to the notice of the defense. They don't have to be requested to do it. It doesn't have to be a formal discovery motion. It's simply a responsibility of the government or the state to do that, to make sure that all exculpatory evidence is in the hands of the defense. It is a prosecutorial obligation. It is not a court obligation. The courts get involved usually post-conviction as to whether or not certain evidence was turned over. The prosecution came to me. They said they had some evidence that had recently come to light. They did not believe that it qualified under Brady, but they were seeking some guidance from the court, which is more an informal suggestion than anything else as to what to do. They showed me the evidence. It has to do with pending litigation and another matter that deals with Dr. Pena and the coroner. They felt that it was not relevant to this litigation. I tended to agree with them. I reminded them that the Brady obligation was a prosecutorial one, which they didn't need to be reminded of. It wasn't for the court to make that decision whether to turn it over, though I felt they were probably correct. But I also suggested, in the interest of just getting this case moving, it would be a good idea if they did, which they did. The fact that it's redacted is to protect some ongoing litigation.
After this, we'll spin a wheel.
And other matters, which is why I sealed that, and the transcript is sealed. I ordered you to get a report. You may review I believe that the defense has a right to review the transcript in its entirety. They need to get a picture of it. If you want to, you may do so. The transcript will remain sealed. It does interfere with other ongoing litigation, which I think outweighs.
Yeah, he's my favorite judge.
Therefore, it's
watched,
appropriate
honestly.
to seal it. I don't think there's any other way to protect it but to seal the records in the case. You may review the transcript. You can arrange to do that with, I think Diana did the transcript. Or was it you, Cindy? Diana. You can review it, take a look at it. If there's something you want to bring to my attention or make a motion, you may do so.
Could I raise one other issue?
Yes.
We've made after we got that yesterday, that material, we got a redacted version of those memos. We asked for an unredacted version.
You know what? If you read the transcript, it's in the transcript. It will explain everything you need to know.
Then we also asked informally if we could have a copy of the coroner's file or an opportunity to review the coroner's file of that decedent's case.
I don't think it's necessary. I've indicated to you, what I did is I made a suggestion which the people chose to follow, and that is just to avoid problems down the line and not having a record is to turn these materials over. It is my viewpoint, unless something different is brought to my attention, that these materials are not relevant to this proceeding, and therefore they are not Brady material, they are not exculpatory. This was simply a matter of choice by the district attorneys after consulting with the court, and therefore I don't think you need anything more than you have.
I understand the court's comments, and I think just respectfully the defense may disagree with you. We'd like to investigate more before we accede to that position, Your Honor, and we discussed this with some of our medical experts, and they've recommended to us to get these files.
You know, they can recommend. The bottom line is, from a legal point of view, I don't see this as being necessary.
Okay, so the record's clear. We've made our request. And
you have.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
I just had one inquiry.
Okay.
I don't know what the universe of the composition of the court file is regarding what was submitted, but we're hoping, and if not, we're requesting that an unredacted version be lodged with the court. I realize the court doesn't intend to turn it over, but we'd like to have it as part of the court record, so if at a later time it doesn't become an issue, it's fine. They can compare the two.
11 months, Kathy. Holy shit, we're working on a year, baby.
Version, and we'll seal it. It'll just become part of the court's record.
You know what,
That's what I'm talking about.
Unredacted version of the report that you gave to the defense.
Of the memo?
Yes. Whatever they had that was redacted,
I think it's the best
give me
community.
an unredacted version that I can seal and attach to the file, so that if somebody
I'm a
later
little
time
biased,
wants
though.
to review it or needs to review it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll have it down in 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Can we, are you done? Pleasure.
No, I was just going to say, is the court going to be available?
He's never done,
this afternoon
Jackson.
for a few minutes, because Deputy Koblenz does want to come.
I'm always available.
Well, not always, but most of the time.
If you know how to get to me, it's
Oh my God, I fucking hate him.
24/7.
Actually, since you raised that, no, I'm kidding.
Okay.
He did want to come over and have a meeting, and we may need a little bit
I'll
of
be
help
here.
on it. Okay.
Okay. Anything further?
I was just going to ask if, off the record, if maybe Mr. Rose.
All right, we're done. We're in recess.
What do they mute the mics when it's off the record? Where are we going next? 41 minutes. L.A. County Sheriff's Detective Thomas Fortier takes the stand. We're going to go into that, but first, let's spin a wheelski. Let's give away a couple of things here this morning, some of the old publicly buzzed trinkets, if you will. Let's give her a spin. Good luck, everyone. Oh, it's a fine spin. Mighty fine. Oh, it's on the green. That's on the green. That's on the green. That's on the green. Pasta Pallone. Pasta Pallone actually usually comes through here on Feral Friday. I'll have to put this down. Yeah, he just now got some stuff. Also, that's a second win for Pasta Pallone. Hell yeah, congratulations. Love it. Yeah, let me get you down here to the winner circle. Which I got to start getting some of this stuff back out. Pasta Pallone. I need to play some catch up here. Stickers and maggot. Boom. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, Joanne, I'll get you out this week. And then I think I'm playing catch up with Sheila, Miss Shorty, Sinead. So all that's going to be going out of the country. And then I got Catgro, Disney Nerd, Tiff, Dave Um's got a shirt coming, NH Dude, who I haven't seen for a minute. Hopefully they're coming back by. Jennifer J, Frog. So hell yeah, I've still got some. That's all not going to go out at once either. That'll be in waves, but that's where I'm at. Hell yeah, everyone. Thank y'all so much for coming in. I appreciate it. Congratulations. Pasta Palone coming through, doing the damn thing. Yeah, he usually comes through on Feral Fridays, hanging out for a little while. Oh, man. Will of Buzz. That's right. That's right. And anybody, hold on. I know we have some fine folks in here that may be new. A reason that you would maybe want to become a Buzz Nation member, I'm just saying, Tuesday nights we have a book club that is specific to the Buzz Nation. The Buzz Nation members. Right now we're reading The Stranger Beside Me from Ann Rule. It is a Ted Bundy book, and she worked with him at a crisis call center in the early 70s, either while he was active, depending on what you maybe think or believe, or as he was starting to become active in murdering young college girls. So yeah, it's a good read. I've learned a lot about Ted Bundy and learned a lot about Ann Rule within the last couple of chapters. We're 4 chapters in. We're still pretty early. Get in there, and again, to become a member. That's how you get in. Bada bing, bada boom, and you won't regret it. I'll promise you that. All right, let's keep rolling here. Let me get this guy's name. L.A. County Sheriff's Detective Thomas Fortier, so I can put it on
because they had
screen.
Conversations, but he won't unless somebody tells him that we can look at what he did in the case. He won't let us look at it.
Okay. Yes. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Do it. Yes, sir.
We have 10 minutes, Your Honor. Does it come back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, we do have a couple other things.
All right.
Okay, sorry.
Yes. Okay. So do we. As asked, we provided a rebuttal witness list to the defense. I have to make sure that everybody knows it's somewhat tentative since we got
they hate each other, these teams. They may have respect for each other, and Jackson and Baden may like each other now, but you can feel it.
The defense said that they have only 2 more
hell yeah,
witnesses,
nice.
And then they're for all intents and purposes.
Hey, Salty, have a good stream. Have a good one. When I end this, I'll send some people over.
The court to take a personal waiver from the defendant. I will. Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Rosen.
Thank you, Eric. A couple things.
Her hair's not great in this, that's for sure.
Dixon
Always looks a little
provided me
bedheady.
with The People's Rebuttal case list, and he did indicate it is tentative. I just need to let the court know the timing on this. Last night I received a call from Mr. Plort. I guess it was somewhere in the 6:30, 7 o'clock time frame, and he indicated that he had been speaking with, I believe, Mr. Wiley and Mr. Ocampo, who was part of the government team, and they informed him that there were going to be certain witnesses that possibly were going to testify today or tomorrow. And these names do appear on the list, but the names I was given last night was a Bruce Liverpool, a Michael Bay, a Nick Terzian, a Kim Gregory, and I think, I'm not sure about this, but I think a Patty O'Neill, but those are the names I was given.
We could, just not to interrupt, I know you don't like that. Susan Michelson is flying in, and we hope she'll be here this afternoon to testify also.
We may get to a witness.
We
My
are
God.
trying to fill up the day, and we believe we will.
You're filling up Murder Church this morning with
It's a
bullshit.
different issue. The issue is that we have nothing on these people. We just got the information less than 24 hours ago, obviously in the evening hours. We have spoken with our private investigator. She is obviously just getting started and getting worked up this morning. We had no
get it to me.
information on these
Publiclybuzzed at
people whatsoever.
gmail.com,
We don't know
Dave.
anything about them.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
They weren't on any witness list before last night. Other than Lynn Harold, she was on the list. Now, it's true there's been a lot of discovery out there, but there's a lot of names in these discovery, hundreds and hundreds of names, and I don't know whether any of these are in there or not, but we have nothing on them. We understand that Mr. Bay, according to either Mr. Ocampo or Mr. Wiley, was interviewed 2 weeks ago. No report, no notes, no transcript, nothing. We understand Mr. Liverpool was interviewed a couple of weeks ago. No notes, no reports. We finally got a tape or we don't have a tape, we have a transcript of the tape. It's not lengthy, it's 6-7 pages, something like that. It's the tape calling into the medical center, the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. But as I understand it, and Mr. Ford can address this more completely because I've had no direct contact with Mr. Ocampo or Mr. Wiley. Mr. Wiley indicated to Mr. Ford yesterday that they've had it for over 2 weeks and they forgot to discover it out to us. Now, I don't know if that's correct or not. Mr. Ford is here and he can address it, but that was what was related to me. So here we've got a list of potentially 13 different witnesses in a rebuttal case, which in effect is nothing more than like a mini trial here. I have nothing on these. None of us do. And I think that we should have the opportunity, first of all, if they have any discovery on this, we should get it, number one. Number two, if they don't, we should have the opportunity to at least do some minimal background work on these individuals and investigation so that we can conduct a proper and a thorough cross-examination of these individuals. I did a little work last night because Mr. Ford called me, like I said, around 7 o'clock. He sent some information over, and I did a little work last night on one of the names, Mr. Bay, and apparently he's not bashful to be on the internet, and I spent 3 hours with my paralegal doing nothing but trying to cull together information just on the internet from that, and every time we pick something else up, it led us somewhere else. I don't know where the end of that is with this gentleman, but at any rate, it puts us at a distinct disadvantage, and I understand that, as Mr. Dixon said, they weren't expecting us to complete our case when we did, but at the same time, I think in fairness, as the court has been, it's been very fair to both sides in this regard, we should at least have the benefit of whatever reports, notes, anything they have regarding any of these individuals, the opportunity to review those matters, and more importantly, give us the opportunity to do a little bit of our own independent investigation so that Mr. Spector, in fact, can have a full and effective cross-examination of these individuals.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Jackson and I are going to kind of split this a little bit because we both talked to some of them.
Sorry, Mr. Jackson. Wasting your time.
So we don't have all the reports that Mr. Jackson can mention that, but this is just
we'll never get to this a witness, no.
Right off the top of the list here, Bruce Liverpool. Bruce Liverpool, paramedic fireman with the Los Angeles Fire Department. Was it Daniel or David Starks? Daniel Starks' partner. They talked to him. In fact, he will testify that a woman that looks just like Tawny Tyndall came and talked to him, but they didn't like what he had to say, and she represented herself to be a civil lawyer. And so they left. So when they say they don't know about these people, that's not quite right. Almost all these people were brought up in their case, and that's what rebuttal is about. We were working on this. They rested early. We're ready to go. We're giving them what we have. It's obviously up to the court how you want to do this and how you want to handle it. But they have talked to, they know about many of these people, and in fact, with the firemen, they talked to them and walked away.
Morning, SK.
Mr. Rosen.
Mr. Ford just indicated to me that the name fifth on the list here, Susan Michelson, was given to us 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago. As far as Mr. Liverpool goes, he may be the only one that I think I have a little bit of information because I have.
That's awesome, CH. I'd love to hear it.
Yesterday, he may be somebody that we possibly could do today.
Gotta make the days better.
Look at it and see where we are.
Getting through these things together.
And I think we could probably do him. As far as the fact we didn't like what he had to say, I don't think that was really the issue, and I don't think Mr. Dixon really, he's a very, very bright fellow and a very, very experienced and veteran lawyer, but I don't think he can yet read our minds as to why we just selected to call Mr. Stark as opposed to Mr. Liverpool. He is one of the exceptions on the list that I think I might be able to do. He's my responsibility, and I might be able to do him if I can chat with him for a few minutes and talk to him about the transcript of the tape.
Morning, Brooklyn.
Well, I disagree as to some of them. Some of the witnesses you may indeed need additional time to investigate. If you don't know what Michael Bay is going to testify to, and this is an individual who was mentioned
not the Michael Bay.
Ms. Laughlin.
Yes.
And it's very clear because within days, I do read the paper, his rebuttal or his testimony was basically in the paper. He totally denies having that conversation. And clearly, I assume you read the papers, that cannot be a surprise to you. To claim surprise or you didn't know that there was a likelihood that he was going to testify, I'm just not accepting that. And you've had ample time as to him. You had to know he was going to be a witness, or it was reasonable to believe. If there's a report that you don't have, obviously you should have the report. But do you have a report on Mr. Bay?
There is no report.
Okay, there you go.
I expect I've never even met Mr. Bay. I expect to meet him before we put him on.
Well, he said somebody from the DA's office has spoken to him.
And I just explained to Mr. Plord. Mr. Plord and Mr. Rosen must not have had a chance to visit this morning before the arguments. I just told Mr. Plord 10 minutes ago, I'm the one that spoke to him, and in the letter or in the confirmation that we were in fact going to call Mr. Bay, or intend to call Mr. Bay based on what we know so far, we've given him all the verbal representation that we have, which is I called Mr. Bay to say, did you attend a party and did this conversation ever happen? No, I didn't, and no, it never happened. That's the report. I have a written report.
Mr. Bay will go forward if the people have him today. There's no reason you cannot cross-examine him. You've been on reasonable notice that he would testify. As to the firefighter or the EMT or whatever he is, there's no reason you can't.
Yeah, if we could just talk.
We're just going to have to go witness by witness, and I'll make a determination whether I think there's reasonable investigation that needs to be done and that you should have an opportunity. And the bottom line is I won't excuse any witness.
That's fine. On Mr. Liverpool, I would need a few moments with him before he's called.
That's not a problem.
Your
Okay.
Honor,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes, he won't show me the documents until his representative. I know Mr. Wiley couldn't do it. So.
Where's this gentleman?
He's outside.
Bring him in, please. I'll take care of it.
I'm sure you will.
Some parts of this job are very enjoyable. Sir, your name, please?
My name is Daniel Hayes.
Whatever documents you have, show them to Ms. Kenny Bodden, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is he going to be the first
This one
witness?
should have been titled something else.
Okay, well, everybody take a
We're
look.
10 minutes into this.
Do you need a few minutes?
Yes, we need a few minutes.
Okay, we'll be in a brief recess. Thank you.
Good Lord.
Court is in session.
All right.
Defendant is present with his counsel. The district attorneys are present. The jurors and the alternates are present. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
All right.
Detective Tom Fortier.
Okay.
Fortier. Detective Tom Fortier. Come on down.
Before this court.
Damn thing.
Hold her up, boss.
Hold up. Hold up. Hold up.
Oh man, I shot Marvin in the face.
Why the fuck you do that?
Shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Please be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
Detective Thomas Fortier, Thomas
Fortier.
Fortier.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Detective Fortier. I know you've been here a couple times waiting. You are employed by whom, sir?
Los Angeles Sheriff's Department.
And in what capacity?
I'm a detective assigned to the Southern California High-Tech Task Force.
And if you could pull the microphone a little closer to you so you can hear, just as, okay? All right, and what is that?
We're a multi-agency task force. We are made up of state, local, and federal agencies. We do DVD, CD,
Yeah, we got a
counterfeiting.
Brooklyn clip.
We do
Brooklyn
computer
Zoo.
intrusions, internet fraud. We also do the forensic investigations on computers and cell phones.
Okay. And were you so employed in this capacity in the year 2003 and 2004?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And did you have an assignment, or were you ever given an assignment to look at or review or develop information that was contained in a laptop computer owned by Ilana
Man,
Clarkson?
this chair is annoying the fuck out
Could you
of
tell
me.
us, sir, when you first received the computer, sir?
In early February, I believe the 11th, possibly the 12th, 2003.
Okay. And you have a case file on this, do you?
Yes.
If you need to refer to it, just let Your Honor know, and we can refer to it if you give you permission, okay?
I'm gonna see if I can see something.
And who did you receive it from?
Detective Bob Kenny.
All right. And when you received it, what was your understanding as to what you were to do with it?
I was asked to look for any correspondence between Mr. Spector and Ms. Clarkson and any references to suicide or depression.
Okay. And did you attempt to do that with the computer?
Yes.
Okay. And could you tell the jurors the steps that you took on February 11th and then soon thereafter to try to attempt to obtain this information?
Yes, ma'am. When we receive a computer, we remove the hard drive from it, And we do it's called a bit-by-bit copy. It copies all the information off the computer, not just what you would normally see when you're using like a Windows or a Macintosh operating system. We also use what's called a write protection device. That enables us to make a copy of the hard drive without being able to write anything to the hard drive. That ensures that there's been no changes made. After I've done that, I use a software program by Guidance Software called Encase to examine it. They're interested in looking at emails at that time, and normally we can just copy out a couple of files from AOL and examine that email on another computer, but we were unable to do it this time. I asked for assistance from the Secret Service, who was part of our task force, and brought a copy of that hard drive up to them. We used their Macintosh computer. It was a little bit older model. We thought it might be more compatible with the one that Ms. Clarkson had. Again, we had just periodic luck. It would open up but then crash almost immediately afterwards. And we had at least 2 people at Secret Service try with 2 different separate computers, and both were unable to pull out all the emails in a friendly kind of version that you could have been able to read.
Okay. Was there any data in the computer that had been corrupted?
Yes, most of the email, the dates.
Most of the email dates?
Most of the files on the email, on the computer. The dates are normally time-stamped by the operating system as long as you keep power to that computer. Her computer is a laptop, and it has a small battery called a CMOS battery. What that'll do is keeps the time current even though you power it off. If that battery goes dead, every time you power up that computer, it's going to default to whatever the basic time is set on the motherboard of that computer.
Okay. Despite that, we were able to obtain some of the dates for some documents that you were able to remove.
Yes.
Okay. And you actually turned over several documents to the investigating officers?
Yes.
Okay. Could we have what's already been marked, Defendant's Exhibit RRR, up, please? And I have a hard copy here, Detective, if you, once we get this up. It's going to go on the screen, but in case you can't see it. Can you see that from there?
No.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
You can hold on to this for a moment. Sorry. There is a bookmark reference. Now, what is a bookmark?
It's something that I put on there myself, something I consider to be important, and I will enter it into my case report, and it's just named a bookmark.
Okay. And why did you consider that to be important?
I was asked to look for references for either suicide or depression, and that was one I found.
Okay. And is the bookmark that you have for the SAG Foundation, is that a true copy of the bookmark that you printed out and gave to the investigating officers?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, if you go back to the hold on, Jennifer, please.
On the screw, it did fall out, so. There we go.
Page here, defendants
There we go.
are continues below.
Hell yeah.
For your
We're back
ease,
in
I put
business.
the second beginning of one on a separate page, if I may have this marked, Your Honor.
Hell yeah.
Next exhibit would be T10.
I do need to tighten it up a little bit. I didn't find the right screwdriver, but I got it in there. Fuck yeah.
What would be the
Another one.
T11.
that,
Big old
T11,
bolt
so
that's
could-
fallen out.
U10.
U10. Okay. Detective, I know you probably can't see that. We'll highlight that. May I approach the...
We out here, baby.
You may.
Thank you.
Trying to. He would be. Hell yeah, look at this. Woo! We back. Lounge it up. Hey.
Blow that up a
Ain't the
little
first time
bit.
I had to screw something. Woo!
Yes, please. Now, this is the beginning, is that a true copy of the beginning of an email that you pulled off of the detectives to a Peter Anderson?
Yes, it is.
Okay, now you have the whole one
Needs the bathroom.
before you. What are those numbers there? Just
Coffee already running
we
through
all
me.
know that you have in that email.
The numbers below the word
Where it
headers?
says received, the return path, what does all that mean? In shorthand, just so we have a working familiarity with it.
It lists the servers that are used by the internet service providers, in this case AOL, which ones. It has a message ID number, and then it has dates and times.
Okay. And could we go, Jennifer, then to the body of the email? Yes, please.
That ain't that right?
Now, looking
Fix
at
that
this
one.
whole email to a Mr. Peter Anderson, was this a true
What I hate
copy?
though is I just heard Gypsy come down the stairs down into the basement, and she's been having trouble with stairs a little bit, and it's making me sad. And she just has to come down here and hang out when I'm down here, and I'm gonna have to figure out something to block out the stairs, I think. And I just now heard her come, so she's gonna follow me back up and then come back down again. She just can't stop.
Of the email that you
I'll be right
pulled
back.
off Miss Lana Clarkson's computer.
Yes.
Okay. And you also pulled off, besides the SAG mark, you pulled off a third email?
Yes.
Okay. Now, by the way, this one you titled Clarkson Depression Reference, correct?
That's correct.
Why did you title that?
Because it was on her computer and it was one of the words I was looking for.
Okay. If we can go to the next document you have, which would be U10, and that'd be the next one, Jennifer, 3742. Edit, right. $37.42. Okay. Now, you have the original in front of you. We're going to just highlight, if we could, the top portion there for a moment. By the way, Detective, we have, those are bait stamp numbers to count for discovery. We know that you don't put those on. Okay. All right. Now, this is the beginning of the third email you pulled off for David Shapiro?
Yes.
Okay. And you put up the title Manic Depressive Reference?
Yes.
And why did you do that?
Because there was a reference to manic depressive in this email.
Okay. And can we look at the body of the email now? You have the whole document in front of you, sir. Is this whole document with this body of this email a true copy of the email that you pulled off and gave to the investigating officers?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Now, you did see a lot of emails in your incoming save folder for AOL?
Yes.
How many, sir?
There was hundreds. I'd have to refer to my report.
May I hear, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, please.
One of my many reports.
I believe, sir, the one you're looking for is dated 3/22/04.
Okay. And you were asking about the incoming reports?
Yes, the incoming. How many emails were in the incoming save folder?
3,553.
And how many were in the sent folder?
1,932.
Now, you had dates for those emails that you just mentioned, the amounts of numbers? You were able to obtain dates?
They were dated from 12/17/2000 through
Hey, Joanne, thank you so
February
much for
1st,
coming through
2003.
here.
And were there other emails in the sent folder that
Yeah, I got you this week.
you had different dates for?
Yes, due to corruption.
Could you tell the jurors what those were?
The dates were 10/27/2000 through 12/4/2002.
And how many of those were there?
1,485.
Okay. And when did you print out the three emails, that the bookmark and the two emails that you mentioned, and give them to the investigating officer, sir?
That would have been late in February 2003.
Okay. And there's a report here dated March 2004. Is that when you looked at the AOL account, or was it prior to that?
Yeah, we got some gypsy emojis in
The
here.
report in March would have been
That's the
after
old
they
gypsy
returned
girl
the
right
computer
there.
to us, and I
Boom.
contacted the Secret Service for their assistance.
Okay. And when you say after they returned the
There she
computer to you, who
is.
returned
It's hard
it
to
to you?
see her, but There she
homicide
is.
Investigator, I believe it was Detective Tomlin.
Okay, so just for clarification, you had it once in February 11, 2003?
Yes.
You pulled off the bookmark and the email, as you
Happy I
mentioned to
fixed
us,
this
and
chair.
gave it
It was
back to
just
them
a
in
fucking
February of
screw.
2003?
Yes.
And then they gave it back to
I did
you
not want to
in
spend
March of
200 bucks on a
2004?
fucking chair this
Yes.
week.
Okay, in between that time, you didn't have
Tell you
anything to do
what.
with pulling anything off the computer?
No, by the time I returned the computer to him, I was finished my examination.
Okay, and then they give it back to you in 2004, and that's when you were able to determine how
Yeah, this
many
black
emails
coffee's
there were in
good.
the box?
Yes.
Did you search the emails only by keyword? Or did you go through and read every one?
No, I didn't read them. Keywords.
Keywords, and what were the keywords that you utilized? Well, did you utilize the word depression?
Need to get like a ramp
Murder,
for her.
suicide, depression, and then I searched.
Maybe get a ramp
for
on the
her email
stairs or
account
something.
on Mr. Spector's
Especially for
computer
outside.
And Mr. Spector's email account on Ms. Clarkson's computer.
Okay, and you didn't find any linkage?
No.
Okay. And then you did take the computer in 2004 after you looked at it and brought it to somebody else?
Yes.
Who was that?
Special Agent Lamb and Special Agent Anthony Cordage from Secret Service.
Okay. And after you got it back, did it go back to anybody else after in 2004, 2005 besides the Secret Service?
The actual computer?
Yes.
No.
How about the hard drive?
I made a copy of the hard drive and gave it to an independent investigator,
And who was that?
Dan Hasty.
Okay. And you did mention the Secret Service. Did you get any results from their review of the computer?
No.
Okay. Nothing
Secret
that you could
Service?
utilize?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I have nothing further this man.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Thank you.
I'd imagine this detective isn't
doing
bought and paid
648?
for by Spector, right?
Just a couple of questions for you. When you are searching for a particular
Or is he?
keyword on a computer, on any computer.
We
say
know
you're
corruption
looking for
runs deep, baby.
And the keyword was, I don't know, something arcane, like haircut, for instance, just any word. When you do that search, are you going to come up with, or do you have the capacity to come up with any link that I might have on my computer from any search that I might have done at any time that automatically either downloaded a cookie or I was sent an email or anything else on my hard drive that might have the word haircut in it?
Yes.
If I have an Encyclopedia Britannica or part of an Encyclopedia Britannica on my computer, what are you going to find?
Numerous returns.
Okay. So if the word haircut is in Encyclopedia Britannica, or if in any article that references the word haircut, that's going to come up as well.
Yes, it will.
Okay. When you did your search on Ms. Clarkson's computer, you also did a search on a desktop computer belonging to Philip Spector, correct?
That's right.
You did a search on a second laptop computer as well as Ms. Clarkson's computer, that other laptop belonging to Mr. Spector, correct?
That's correct.
You did a search on floppy diskettes as well?
Yes.
And those
Floppy
belong to Mr.
disks.
Spector?
My
Yes.
God.
And you did a search
When
on
did those
zip
go
disks, or-
Had to be
I
around
guess
this
that's the
time.
phrase for it, zip disks or
Yes.
zip drives. And those belong to Mr. Spector as well.
That's correct.
All right, so you did a kind of a comprehensive
No,
search.
that's crazy. I'm pretty sure the
on
first
Ms.
computer I got,
Clarkson's
which
computer,
was
as well
2005, as crazy as that
several
is,
forms of media
like,
storage for Mr. Spector as well.
what was that?
I searched
Fucking
all the media at one time.
18? 19? Pretty sure there was still like the floppy disk shit on it.
Miss Kinney Bodden asked you about a Clarkson suicide reference, and she put up on the overhead what has previously been marked as Defense RRR. And that was a SAG, or a Screen Actors Guild email, I think that you labeled Clarkson suicide reference, correct?
That's correct.
And you indicated in your report, Detective, the full path that you found that in. Is that right?
That'd be correct.
All right. With regard to the word bookmark, we're all familiar with bookmarks. When I go to a website, for instance, and I like that website and I want to go back to it, on my computer, it's called favorites. But I kind of grew up learning in this bookmarks. I could actually click a button and it'll give me a quick link back to that site. That's not what you're talking about with regard to bookmarks in your report, correct?
Right. It's not correct.
All right. In other words, that is a bookmark for you during the investigative process, not that Lana Clarkson bookmarked anything having to do with the SAG email, correct?
That's correct.
All right. In some 3,000 outgoing emails and some, it looks like 2,700 sent emails, I'm sorry, from some 3,000 incoming emails and some 2,700 outgoing emails, this one email, the SAG Foundation email, is the only one that you reference.
Flaccid
You
hogs,
title it
outside in the
suicide
house.
reference, correct?
Yes.
All right. In fact, in that email, the word suicide doesn't appear. Is that correct?
The one from SAG?
Correct.
Damn.
I believe it was at least in the subject.
Okay.
Early
It doesn't
2000s. So
indicate, that the SAG
that kind of makes
Foundation
sense with
in
my
conjunction with Cedar Sinai Medical Center will
with my 2005 purchase, because like I'd grow up very poor, and like Dan, my brother, lived with my parents, and he had a computer, and when I would get to go to his house on random weekends, we would I'd get to do stuff during the early 2000s. I think he got his first one in like 2002, probably when he was like 13, something like that, just spitballing here. But I talked my grandma into getting me one finally. Actually, I believe she she had saved up lots of money over many years for just in case I went to college. And when I did start going to college, I was like, I think I need this, and I was able to actually get one for the first time in my actual life. And I was already technically an adult. I'm pretty sure if it was 05, I was probably 18 going on 19. Yeah, because I turned 20 in October of 06. Yeah, so crazy though.
be providing a depression screening.
That's correct.
Okay, so you took that word because you were asked to look for depression, suicide, etc. You saw that, it raised a red flag, you labeled it a possible suicide.
Yeah, that's about when Dan
reference.
got
you
one.
included it in your report. The report goes off to the investigator, correct?
Dude, it was so fun though.
In
I'd be like,
point of
holy
fact,
shit.
the word suicide and a
It's crazy.
suicide reference actually doesn't appear in that email. Is that correct?
Could I take a quick look here?
Absolutely.
Dan also
And if
had
it
like
does-
better cable. Like the cable he had like, they had like awesome channels, and I just had the basic of basics. So like, he would sometimes he'd come down and hang out with me at my grandma's on a weekend also, and he would like bring down stuff he had recorded off of like something like, because we didn't get Comedy Central even, and he did, So I was like, oh my god, he'd bring the coolest
If I
shit.
missed it, then maybe you can point it out.
Yeah, Brooklyn. My grandma had no use for that shit. She's like, why do we need a computer?
You're correct. It refers to
Wow. I don't know about my first search, but it was definitely wrestling related. The first thing I ever downloaded, though, from not Napster, because Napster was just music only, but Kazaa, where you could do music and videos. The worst. It would take so long to get 30 seconds. But it was from wrestling. It was this wrestler named Diesel giving a power bomb to Bret Hart through a table. It was like from a 1995 clip. So this is like, I would say 01, 02, 03, something like that. Probably 02 or 03. But yeah, I remember that clip taking forever to download. I used to look at a lot of wrestling websites, OneWrestling.com in particular.
Not appear in that email, correct?
Correct.
So the word suicide, insofar as your comprehensive search of the entire hard drive, does not appear anywhere
for real.
on Lana Clarkson's hard drive. Is
I
that
remember
correct?
that shit taking forever.
That's correct.
This is the closest that you found regarding depression,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
All right.
But I remember Dan had Sims, dude.
Are
A couple
you
of games,
familiar-
Sims. I think it was Driver. That game was fucking crazy. And now today it probably wouldn't even look that cool. But man, it was so fun. And he had like the steering wheel and shit. But The Sims was fun as fuck.
With how
I tried to kill them always. I tried to, put them in places with
can
no
be sent
bathroom,
en masse.
no food, block
Yes.
them in.
can programmers, email programmers, or let's say website or webmasters or folks like that, people in the industry, can they set up an email, a single email, to be sent to the masses, if you will?
Yes.
I've been on websites myself, Detective, where you buy something at ecost.com or someplace like that, and at the very bottom, once you purchase it, there's a box, and they always have the box checked and next to the box that's already checked for you, it says something like, if you'd like to receive all of our
Oh, well, that's early.
promotional materials,
I was killing
keep this box
Sims,
checked. If you
trying
don't want to
to.
receive them, you got to uncheck the box. You ever seen that?
Yes, sir.
Is that a common way to, for folks on the internet to get information out to the masses?
Yes.
Not uncommon. You see it all the time on websites, correct?
Yes.
And if you don't uncheck that box,
Well, and thinking about it, there was like classes in high school that would have like computers with good internet, and I do remember some cool websites with fun games. But I also remember some fucked up websites too that you'd end up on as well. Definitely saw real death way before I should have, just from people, from other classmates going like, oh, you got to check this out. And it's just like the most horrific thing you've ever seen in your life.
you'll now be on, implicitly, you've impliedly agreed that you're going to be on some kind of an email web list, right?
You're going to be in their group mailing list.
All right. And that could include junk mail that you don't want?
Usually.
All right. And it can include, I guess, promotional stuff as well.
Yes.
God, yes.
With regard to
The
your
worst stuff.
investigation of Lana Clarkson's hard drive, this SAG Foundation.
Now that's just
the
X
SAG
though. My
Foundation
feed now
email.
is just real death
Do you
all
know
the
if
time.
that was a
I'm
mass
super
email
desensitized.
sent
True
to
crimes
all
fucked
SAG
me up
Foundation
also.
members? Or do you know if Ms. Clarkson actually had to go out and solicit that?
It appeared to be due to the fact that in the two-line it was sent to the SAG, it wasn't sent to her name individually.
What did that tell you?
She was part of a group mailing list.
So there's no reference in this that Ms. Clarkson ever went to SAG and requested information about depression screening. Is that correct?
I couldn't say that it was true from what I've read, no.
This is consistent with Cedars-Sinai, as a matter of fact, in conjunction with SAG, sending out a mass email to all of their members saying, hey, look, here's one of the things that we offer. We offer depression screenings, we offer alcohol screenings or alcohol counseling, we offer drug counseling to all of our members, and here's the email and here's the link if you're interested, correct?
It appeared to be so.
All right, and this appeared on her hard drive, but there's no indication, there's no evidence whatsoever that she solicited this or in any way followed up on anything about this email. Is that right?
I couldn't say that she solicited this individual email, but sometimes she solicited emails from SAG.
All right. Or when she joined SAG, she got on their email list by either checking or unchecking a box saying, yeah, I'll take your emails.
That's correct.
All right. With regard to the second, and I think there were 3 references on the hard drive. I don't know if they were all emails or not. Ms. Kinney-Bodden asked you about the bookmark reference that we just talked about from the SAG Foundation, that mass email. And then she asked you about a manic depressive reference, I think. And I think you labeled it in your report, Clarkson manic depressive reference, correct?
Yes.
If you would take a look, do you have that in front of you?
Yes.
If you would take a look at the body of that email, second to the last paragraph, the main paragraph, about 3 lines from the top. I don't want you to read it out loud. There's a line starting, I'm looking into other gigs. Could you read that sentence to yourself for a second?
Okay.
All right. Do you have that in mind?
Yes.
Does the phrase manic depressive appear in that sentence?
Yes.
Does it appear that the author, Ms. Clarkson, is speaking about herself or someone else?
Someone else.
But because your investigation or your search is not discriminating, it's going to pick up anything.
Yes.
Any reference to the word manic depressive, correct?
That's correct.
So even though Ms. Clarkson was speaking about someone else being manic depressive in this sentence, it still picked it up.
Yes.
And since it was a reference that you were asked to look at, you still included it in your report and you moved on and gave it to the investigating officer, correct?
Yes.
What the fuck am I watching, bro?
You have no dates, well, I guess I should ask it this way. Do you have actual dates for this particular email, the manic depressive where Ms. Clarkson was talking about somebody else?
They're not accurate dates.
Okay. So there's a date, but you have no way of verifying the accuracy of it because that battery was messed up, and every time she logged off or turned off the computer, it would default back to, I think it was 1904 or something, wasn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Just happy my chairs are back, dude. Every time I like try to get my lean on, it's just like, oh god, I'm still moving, I'm still going.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor? I'm sorry, I'm trying to cut this a little bit short.
Changed his look up again. He likes purple. He does rock purple a lot. Purple on blue. It's a purple on blue boy.
Your Honor, that's all I have for this witness. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Detective.
Redirect.
Detective 48, let's start with the last, I think it's U10. You have my copy up there. You were looking for the keyword depression, correct?
One of them, yes.
Okay. And Mr. Jackson just had you talk about manic depressive in that email. Does that email also reference the word depression? Two lines above.
Just 1 second. Yes.
What does that line say where it references the word depression?
Tons of follow-up mailings and paperwork to do, but the depression level I am experiencing due to major financial difficulties makes me extremely spent and worn out.
Okay. And that was talking about herself, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you also indicated to Mr. Jackson that some of the dates were not accurate because the computer came up at 1904.
Yes.
On this email, you were able to find a date from the ALL account itself, correct?
Yes.
And what was the date on that?
Friday, October 25th, 2002.
Okay. And on the previous email, T10, that you discussed with this jury, you were able to find a date on that from the AOL account?
Date was Monday, December 16th, 2002.
Okay. So the fact that some of the data was corrupted did not prevent you from finding dates
Dude, he'll
on
just
some
pass
of the
it.
emails?
Is he there looking demonically
Now,
at
with regard
you?
to the, SAG.
Like the devil is sitting there looking at you? Just fuck you, you piece of shit. If I could put a spell on you right now. Or he's just barely alive. Looks high as fuck.
Reference that you mentioned, by the way, with Mr. Jackson. You indicated
2
that
fills,
it
that's
was
all
a
we
mass
get.
mailing.
I imagine there isn't many more.
Yes.
That reference was not deleted from Ms. Clarkson's hard drive, was it?
I didn't understand your question.
That reference to the SAG Foundation in conjunction with Cedars-Sinai on the depression screening was not deleted, was it?
You're asking me if it was in the email?
Was it in her computer?
If I understand correctly, you're asking me.
Had it been deleted? Did you find it in her computer saved, or did you
no.
find it deleted?
It was not deleted.
It was not deleted. As a matter of fact, it was saved in her computer in Living Doll production filing cabinet.
Dude, I really couldn't, like the rapid fire type of questions that, especially, I know Bond does too, but Alan Jackson does as well. He'll just start hitting you. Well, that's a technique in all of these people, especially if they're good attorneys. But, dude, I'd have to take a second for each one. I'd be like, whoa, wait, what? Let me process the question. Give me a second here. Hey, they would hate me, actually.
Did you do a keyword
exactly
search for the words hurt myself?
I'd want to make sure everything was clear.
I don't remember them.
Would looking at your reports tell you whether you did or didn't?
Yes.
Could you please do that, sir? Bless you.
He's so nervous because this is a high-profile case. You know, everyone's going to be seeing this all over the country. He seems like a nervous
Do you have
dude.
it on the report you're looking at?
No, I don't. That's why.
Okay. I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Okay. Did you do a keyword for the word drugs? Search. Keyword search. I apologize. I left out.
No.
Did keyword search for the word tequila?
No.
Keyword search for the word alcohol?
No.
Keyword search for the word sobriety?
I mean, he's just looking at random papers. I don't think he's really looking. He's just.
Okay. Now, some of the data on the computer was corrupted, correct?
Am I crazy?
The dates were corrupted, yes.
Okay. Was there also data besides dates that were corrupted?
I don't remember not being able to read it. You couldn't read it in a nice format, the proprietary format, but you could read the raw data.
Okay. And is it correct that you never had a hard drive from a desktop computer to search for Lana Clarkson?
Damn.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Shit's so intense, right?
That SAG email, is there an expiration for the response or RSVP time for the SAG email?
Yes, there was.
What was that expiration?
Says it must RSVP by Friday, 6/9/02.
7-8 months before she died.
Yes.
And that was in a location under iBook, Mac OS, 6 Mac OS, Macintosh HD for hard drive, system folder, preferences, /America Online /data /Living Doll Productions filing cabinet, correct?
That's correct.
There's lots of emails in there, correct?
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. Redirect.
Did you check to see whether she saved her response?
To that segment?
Correct.
No.
Did you ever ask the investigating officers to subpoena SAG to see whether she had responded?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's like, please let me get out of here. Jesus, fuck.
I assume that your testimony is, you cannot say that she did save that.
I don't know.
That may just automatically go into that filing cabinet.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. Redirect. Subject to recall.
Yeah, this dude wants out of there bad.
Step down.
It'd be me, though. Dude, I'd be so nervous.
Thank you.
There's also an issue.
Oh, God, there's more.
We need to approach on.
Okay.
Be very brief.
See where we're going next. Out of interest here. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. I appreciate it. 25 minutes. Yeah, we'll do 25. IT consultant Daniel Hasty and Phil Spector's daughter take the stand. Whoa. Okay. And why didn't they give her the daughter's name here so I can, properly update it instead of just putting Phil's daughter? Guess she'll give her name, though, at the beginning. Interesting. I read something on Phil's daughter, and I think it was Shelly or Missy had sent it to me. And now I can't really remember what it was, but it was... I don't really remember. It was interesting. I have to figure it out. Let me get this guy's name up here. We're going to start out with Daniel Hasty. So I guess we're going to get 2 witnesses in with 25 minutes here.
And to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
My name is Daniel Haste, D-A-N-I-E-L.
Haste.
H-A-S-T-E.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Haste. You and I have just met this morning, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And could you tell the jurors what you do?
I'm a information technology consultant and programmer.
And in your capacity, do you work on computers to try to retrieve information or not retrieve information?
Yes.
Okay. And did you work on an iBook hard drive belonging to one Lana Clarkson in this matter?
Yes.
Okay. And you've done this in the past, correct?
Recovered
information.
Data, yes.
As a matter of fact, you helped Mr. Dixon explain this morning, you've helped him in his Blueberry or BlackBerry in the past, or some
Yes.
MacBook, right? Macs are a little bit different. They're a little bit different animal, right? In terms of recovering information.
They run a different operating system than Microsoft.
Okay. And when was the first time you became involved in this matter?
I would believe in March 2004.
Okay, you have to tell us if there's something you need to refresh your recollection. If you tell Your Honor you need to refresh your recollection,
Yes.
we'll allow you to do it.
I'm referring to a note. Yeah, I believe.
You gotta ask. That's what she's saying, boss.
Okay. And when was the first time that you wrote a final report in this matter?
I don't recall the date.
Do you have anything in front of you that would refresh your recollection as to when you wrote a final report?
I have a copy of the report, but I immediately right offhand don't recall the date.
Okay. Did you write a draft report?
Yes.
And do you have a copy of your draft report with you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have a copy of your final report with you?
Yes, I do.
Now, you indicated that your final report does not have a date on this?
My copy does, this copy I just printed off my computer, so I don't have a date on it.
Did you sign a date for a report dated February 9th, 2005?
That sounds correct.
Okay. And you don't have a copy of that signed report?
No, I do not.
Okay. But that sounds right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you take notes when you were doing your data retrieval from Ms. Clarkson's computer?
I had some handwritten notes, but mainly I just worked with the computer.
Did you bring those notes with you today?
No, I don't. I didn't retain them.
Okay. You didn't retain them? I'm sorry.
No, I don't have them.
If you could just speak up a little bit, because they have to hear you back here also. I know this is the first time. Is this the first time you've testified?
No, I testified previously.
Okay. Now, when did you pick up the computer from Detective Tom Fortier?
I believe March 18th, 2004.
Okay. And when you picked up the computer, were there some issues you were asked to deal with?
I was asked to, I was basically given a copy of the contents of the hard drive and was asked to look it over and make the contents of the drive more available and visible to the prosecutors.
Okay. What was your understanding as to the problems that the computer had?
Well, I knew I had gotten a vague description that they were having some trouble accessing it. I didn't really have a more advanced description before that. What I encountered when I worked with it was the nature of it's a Macintosh computer, and it has certain system files on it that would allow that image only to boot on a relatively small number of Apple-produced machines. So I think that was causing some.
Yo, Strickland, welcome in here. Morning.
For booting the computer.
Okay. And were you able to boot it up?
Yes.
Did you have any problems?
Strickland's an OOG.
I had
probably
to,
over 2 years ago.
Identify a computer that was similar, similar to that. So had to locate that and order, get a hold of a machine to do that. And then at one point during the process, when I tried to access it, I would get system errors.
What does that mean?
There were errors. There were errors during the boot process.
And what effect does that have? In layman's terms,
not really. You would basically shut down and reboot the computer.
Okay. So how many times did you have to do that before you were able to boot it up?
Perhaps once or twice.
Okay. And were there things that you noticed that there were printouts that had not been printed out?
Yes, there were documents. Ms. Clarkson had a Canon bubble jet printer.
Canon.
And she had documents that were in a print queue, basically on the computer, waiting to be printed out.
Okay. Were you able to determine that it was her that had printed them to the print driver or the detectives?
No, I would have no way of making that determination.
Okay. So you only knew that there were documents in the print queue?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know, did the detectives ever show you, Detective Fortier ever show you any documents such as a reference to a SAG screening depression clinic that they had printed out?
I'm sorry, what was?
Did they show you any documents they had printed out?
No.
Okay. Did you obtain any emails that the detectives printed out?
I'm sorry, did I obtain? Could you
Any
repeat that?
emails that the detectives had printed out before, when they transferred the computer over to you?
No.
Okay. Did you find any data corruption or viruses on the computer?
I found, and this is now several years since I've looked at it, I believe that there were, I'm trying to think of the word to describe this, a Microsoft Word macro virus. I think there was a minor virus on some of the documents.
Okay. And you said there were jobs in the bubble jet print monitor?
Those are what we've discussed already.
Okay. And was one of those an email about a heart attack that somebody had on September 6th?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what September 6th, what year that was?
I have a copy of the document.
Yes.
I have a date, there's a date on the document that may be when the document was written.
Okay. What was that?
That date is 12th of November, 2002.
Okay. And you printed those documents out
25 months,
for the
holy
investigators,
shit.
correct?
Dude, you and Mosh have to be the
No,
oldest.
I don't know. I don't know that. I didn't actually
That's
have
awesome.
a bubble jet printer.
Crazy I've even
until,
been doing it this long.
well after some of the initial work, so I don't know that that I have.
Well, did you do a draft report in this matter to the prosecutor?
Yes, that's correct.
Could you look at page 4 to refresh your recollection, sir, please?
How is his daughter not going to take more time than this?
Yes, that document, I did provide that.
Does that refresh your recollection
Yes,
that
it
on
does.
September 25th, 2004, you acquired a bubble jet printer and printed out those documents for the prosecutor?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we started by talking that you did a draft report and a final report. You also had communications with the district attorney's office, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I don't want you to go into the contents of, but one of the...
It's almost like a character in a skit.
Communications you had was
I feel
by
like.
email to a prior district attorney in this matter?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the date of your email to him?
I'm going to refer to this.
Yes, but don't tell us the contents at this point.
Okay, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Okay. I'd like you just to look at the email to one of the prior prosecutors, your first email that you have in your binder that you brought this morning.
Yes.
Okay. And you gave these documents to us this morning, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, you wrote an email, correct? And I'm going to lead here, Your Honor.
All right.
Okay, a little bit. You indicated that you found some documents. Don't answer what yet, okay? All right, correct? You got
Yes.
some documents, all right. And you indicated you had an updated workout schedule, correct?
Yes.
And you put in a workout calendar for the future dated 12/3, right?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, were you the one who indicated that 12/3 was in the future?
I believe I was referring to the a date on the document. I don't believe I was indicating that.
Okay, a date on the document?
Yes.
Okay. And you also indicated that you had a
Bonnie,
letter
yes.
to a Hugo.
That's
dated
amazing
10/2.
also. 21 months.
No, I
15
believe
months.
that's part of the document.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
That's
and
crazy.
3 LB letters?
Yes, those are, yes.
Okay. And in that, you indicated to the prosecutor that...
Yeah, I know Pammy's been around for a long
she talks
time now,
about the
though.
future and wanting to have children, correct?
Honestly.
Yes.
But you could not place the LB
guy's
letters
an
in
IT
December
guy?
1st to February 4th window.
Guess he was trying to
correct?
extract some information from the hard drive of her computer?
Yes,
Or did extract
I
information?
don't recall. I can obviously see that I wrote that.
Other than that,
This is a
I
few
don't
years ago. I don't recall that.
Do you know why you were looking at a window of only December 1st to February 4th?
Well, I don't believe that would have been what I was looking for. The computer had an underlying technical issue in that the battery had failed, and it continually referred to a 1904. So some of my searching, I was looking for documents.
This is the kind of guy you
looking
don't
for
want to
text
be
of
like your
documents or
doctor.
any other
Just super indecisive.
information that would place
Or
the
really
documents
anything,
in a,
you know,
a
any kind of
recent
professional that you
timeframe.
need for help.
The recent to
Well, you know.
Now, you actually printed out
Is
the
it?
LB letter, correct?
Well,
You have that with you?
There are
Maybe.
multiple LB letters. There are drafts, but yes, I have.
You have the final copy with you?
Yes.
Were you asked
I
to
don't
look
know.
for the words
I haven't
blackout
ever reached
drinking
out
in
to
that
her.
document?
I bet she would, though.
Sorry, I need a few moments.
Yes, please.
I gotta get hyped up for those type of people, for the real professionals. Like, every time I have one on, it's always chill, it's always good. I host a pretty damn good show, but I always have to. And she's, I mean, honestly, pretty big league. Just to be frank. Oh my God, the page is flipping by the mic. Jesus, I didn't get the question either. I don't even know what he's looking for.
Okay, I have the document.
Okay.
We do. I do need to get some
May I
new
approach
emojis
so I can
going.
look at what you
You're right.
Sorry, I'm not finding this.
I can be pretty indecisive too. Honestly. But my professionals, you know.
Yes,
like a doctor. Today I'm going to go see a tax professional. I wouldn't want them to not be
Ms.
sure.
Clarkson having blackout drinking in the past.
Yes, it's where she's appears to be referring to an event in her past. Yes.
Okay. And did you send that document to the prosecutors?
Yes.
Now, were you asked to search the computer for keywords or other documents such as drinking?
Most of the searching that I did was based on date, and I looked for any documents that I could place.
I'm going to get on Feral Friday and watch that movie, this Phil Spector movie. That would be crazy.
Late 2000 or late 2003, early
Just
2004.
me getting hammered, making inappropriate jokes.
Okay. Were you asked to search a keyword such as drinking?
No, I was given no list of keywords.
Did you search keywords such as alcohol?
Objection. It's just indicated.
He indicated he wasn't giving any words. The question is different. Did he search any words? All right. The objection's overruled. You may answer.
I don't recall doing that. No.
Okay. Did you search for the words depression?
Objection. Witness has just indicated, I mean, we can go through this list, but the witness just indicated he didn't search for keywords.
Well, but there's a difference between a keyword and searching for a word. So the way the question is phrased, I believe it's proper to ask, and it does not necessarily include the witness's prior answer. Objection's overruled. You may answer.
No, I did not search for depression.
Okay. Did you search for sobriety?
No, I did not.
Did you search for tequila?
No.
Okay. Now, your draft report was actually sent to the prosecutor. Was it not?
I believe so,
I guess
yes.
that should be a question, was it not?
Yeah, well, I believe so. I'm not 100% certain.
Do you have an email to the prosecutor that would refresh your recollection in your...
Well, let me just go digging for it real quick. For real, we're going to have 10... Paused it right when this fucking guy's just passing out. We're going to have no time with his daughter. I figured that would take days. That'd be, yeah. What would be a good idea for a thumb? That's a good idea, too. Put that in my notes. I randomly collect notes.
Yes.
Okay, and what date was that you sent it?
That was on August 23rd, 2004.
Okay, and did you ask the prosecutor, could you please review this and confirm that I'm on the right track and that this does what
I'm on the
you really need?
right track now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Did you ask
yes,
the prosecutor that?
I need to
Well,
probably add.
I'm going to ask you to go.
Yes, I did.
Yes, I'd just
But
like to know if you did. Why?
Hey, wait a minute. Clearly, there's an objection pending. To try to get him to answer in a question while an objection is pending is inappropriate. Do you need to explain your prior answer?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have not previously prepared any reports of this type, and I had had a discussion with the prosecutor about, you know, what, I didn't know what would be a proper way to present my information. So the response appears that I'm asking him for actual input on the content, and I was not doing that. The question was whether a narrative was a effective way to write a useful way to write a report.
Okay. Did you ask whether the last paragraph was useful?
Yes, I did.
And why?
Yeah, he has some kids, I think.
I don't recall. I may have had some question about my syntax or English, most likely.
After discussing the draft report with the prosecutor, did you change some of the contents of the report?
In the final version, I had a number of references to the print documents and items, and I removed those because they seemed to just create needless confusion. I felt it was not useful.
You felt it was not useful?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, the draft report, the first time you brought that with us for us to see was today?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you have a prior email with the prosecutor
Like,
concerning
I've
whether
always
or not
wanted a
you
fro.
should write
You know
a
what?
quick summary of the drive contents and history?
Jeez, the Phil stare. Hardcore Phil stare. He's only got 2 looks.
I don't believe so.
Could you look at
Am I
those
missing?
emails again that you have?
Sure.
Third one?
We're 6 minutes possible. I don't even believe the daughter's going to be in this video. Like,
Do you
that's
know
got to
whether
be
or
a
not the
mistype at this
computer
point.
was in the same, the hard drive contents were in the same condition when you got it as to when it was taken off her Mac?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Did you print out your on-case report reviews? In other words,
I wouldn't print it. I don't use on-case.
okay. All right, so you wouldn't print that. Now, when you did your report, did you send it, both the draft and the final report to the prosecutor?
Yes.
Were you looking for certain things as advised to you by either the detective or the prosecutor to look for?
Well, the initial scope of work when this came up was to see if there was a program on the computer, a calendar. And that was where we started. There was not a calendar, but when I looked at the computer, I realized there were documents that had dates on them.
Okay, and you did not find a calendar?
No, I did not find one.
You did not find a calendar for the year 2003, which would set forth dates to like appointments and such like that?
No, I didn't.
And that's what you were asked to look for?
That was the initial, one of the initial discussions, yes.
And the latter discussions were what, sir?
Well, when I looked at the hard drive, I found, like as I mentioned, there were documents that had specific dates where Ms. Clarkson had written a date in the correspondence, and I was able to locate those through searches. So even though there was not a calendar per se, a calendar program, I was able to identify, she did identify events and dated them and dated correspondence.
Okay. Was that the scope of your work?
That was certainly included in the in the work I performed. Yes.
Okay. And when you wrote your report, sir, did you identify Ms. Clarkson as a murder victim in your reports to the prosecutor?
I may have. I'm a computer person, so if there's my wording in a way like that may not be. If it's it's just what I might have used. Yes.
Did you use those words?
I don't. I'm not 100% certain. Can I refer back to the report?
Yes, please.
All right. Why is the sister or the daughter
those words
named on this one? That makes zero sense.
All right, thank you very much for being
never
here.
mind.
To recall you may
What?
step down.
No, they're not starting a video. I'm so confused.
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
My first name's Nicole, Nicole. Last name's Spector,
Nicole Spector.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Ms. Spector, I have to call you Ms. Spector. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay. And are you the daughter of Philip Spector?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And have you observed him during your lifetime in his daily observations?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Did you live with him for a period of time while you were young?
I did.
Okay. And about how long would you stay with?
I lived with him for about the first 8 years of my life, and I've spent much time with him in his house since then.
Okay. And were you able to observe him during your high school years when you were a little bit
I think
older
was
than 7 or
completely
8?
useless.
Yes.
Never get that time back.
Let me just ask you questions, okay? How did you
Yeah, let's
observe
see how
him
he
during
looks
his
at
high
her.
school years? In other words, did you have daily interaction with him, weekly, monthly, what?
It was mostly daily during the week. He would pick me up from school from when I was about 13, starting freshman year, to about 17, my senior year of high school.
Okay. And did you eat dinner with him during those periods of times?
Yes, my mother would cook, and we would go back to our house, and he would eat dinner with us, and we would watch All in the Family.
Okay. Now, besides...
All right, I'm going to let the answer stand based upon the offer of proof. Let's get to the point, please.
Okay. Did you observe
I
him
don't think
since
so.
your high
I
school
think this
years?
is a
In other words,
legit
have
kid.
you
Let me look it
been
up.
together, traveled together, that type of thing?
I'm going to allow this question. It's very clear she's familiar with him. If, based on the offer of proof, if he would ask the question that you indicated you were calling this witness for, I would appreciate it.
Have you observed him since?
Yes.
And were you able to observe his hand usage?
Yes.
Okay. And when you said you went to high school with him, have you traveled with him for a period?
At this point, I'm going to sustain the objection. You have laid the foundation you need to ask the question you indicated you called this witness for.
During those period of time, did he eat with his right hand?
Yes.
Okay. Are his guitars right-handed?
Objection. It's irrelevant.
No, the objection's overruled if that's...
It says here, Nicole Audrey Spector is indeed the biological daughter of the famous music producer Phil Spector and his partner Janice Zavala. Nicole was born in October 18th, 82, as one of twins alongside her brother Philip Spector Jr. Whoa, there's a junior who tragically passed away of leukemia in 91, damn, at age 9. Phil Spector had other children, 3 adopted sons from his marriage with Ronnie Spector, but Nicole is his only living biological child. There's no indication from the provided data of any dispute regarding her being his real daughter. So yeah, this is his legit daughter.
Circumstantial evidence that might tend to establish what this witness is called for. You may proceed.
Yes.
Okay. And have you ever seen him use his left hand, for instance, to play the piano?
I've never seen him play the piano, so no.
All right. And from your observations of traveling with him, being with him, and watching him in his daily activities during these years, can you tell this
Looks
jury
at her the same.
whether he is
Still a psychopath.
left-handed or right-handed?
My dad's right-handed.
Thank you, Ms. Spector. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Nothing.
All right, thank you for being here. You may step down.
Oh, they didn't even want to touch her.
Do you have another
Shit,
witness?
that's why it was so quick. That's actually really surprising. Wow. Quickest witness yet, 3 minutes. Holy shit. Next is an hour 25, and we're not going to tackle that today. LA firefighter paramedic Bruce in Liverpool is about to get grilled, it would seem. So we're going to be starting that out very soon. Very soon. Maybe Tuesday. We'll see what happens, because I'm still working on my Manson episodes also. There's going to be a second episode of Helter Skelter coming. If you didn't see Thursday's show, go check that out. If you didn't see the last 2 Sundays show with Jack, Never a Truer Word, go check those out. I'm going to keep my mind set on some of that, just that era of the late 60s, the Manson family, all the characters that are connected to that, and all of the many different events that happened. Thursday we went pretty deep into the Sharon Tate murders. Thanks everyone for coming in this morning. Thanks everyone for doing the donations. We got a will out of the way. We've already about halfway through another will, or at least approaching halfway, which I really appreciate. You know I'm talking about straight on. Everybody coming through here this morning, really appreciate it. But yeah, come back through Tuesday for sure. Also, if you're not in the book club, on Tuesday night, we do a book club meeting. It's members only, so the only way to get in there is if you're part of the Buzz Nation in the members. Right now, I'm about to send you to Salty Sleuth's live stream. I think she's doing something on Coburger. Yeah, when you get there, let them know Publicly Buzz sent you. Oh, and this week on Feral Friday, I've got Lauren Conlon coming through. We're going to be watching something, so boom. Hell yeah. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Let's kick this week's ass. And hell yeah, let's go. Tell Salty I sent you.